Well, shall we?
Hello,
No?
everyone. Oh. It never
Hello,
gets
everyone.
better, easier. I don't mean that in a way of life. It gets better.
I
It
do.
doesn't get better starting the show.
Okay. I think
Oh
it
my
just
god.
it does get, are you okay?
No, I'm not. Thanks for asking. Hi. Sorry.
Are we well? What's happening?
No. No, I'm sorry. I feel that I started off with a rough energy, so let me start that over.
Also,
Hello, everyone. That's not better.
quick question. Is your microphone connected to this audio?
No, hold on. How about now?
That's much better. I'm so sorry. I'm just realizing it.
It's fine on the audio. I promise I checked.
Okay. So
As
round
Jack
4.
says, as Jack says, she didn't check.
We are welcome to 429. This
God.
episode is sponsored by the world being totally against us because we have tried to do this episode so many times and so many things
Do
have
you
gotten in
know
our way.
it's becoming like, yeah, it's becoming one of those things where I was almost like, should I play along? Like
We
when you
were
texted me earlier with that tease of like, oh, are you still not feeling well? And I was like, I mean, I'm not really feeling well. Should I just say again, let's postpone it? And then I felt everybody on our team go like, we will strangle you to death if you do this.
yeah,
But I was like, a part of me wants to just keep pushing the envelope, you know?
if I didn't care about Jack's feelings, we would have probably pushed again. But
Correct.
the man needs like a
The
day at
man
least.
needs at least a day to get this out. We're like pushing the envelope here with recording. We're back to the old days where we are like flying at the seat of our pants, you know what I mean? And
We're the
M's in
hamster
a
on the wheel.
hotel. Yeah, I'm packing for my flight tomorrow. M's in a hotel. We have a show, and then the episode comes out in a few days. It's just chaos, but that's, I feel like where we thrive.
Well, we were supposed to record like a week ago, and then it just became like a series of unfortunate events. Like they lost my luggage, which had my laptop in it, so we couldn't record. Then Christine got sick, and it's become a real hullabaloo over here. Are you still sick? What's the vibe? What's happening?
I'm still sick. This is the first day this is really stupid. This is the first day I'm drinking coffee in like 4 days. And I decided to fill, as I mentioned in the promo we did for our upcoming Vegas show, which I'm so fucking excited for. I filled my gigantic Mirage Las Vegas cup with iced coffee today, which is probably the dumbest thing I could do. It's the first day my stomach's been like fine in like 4 or 5 days. And I decided to just fucking test the limits, I guess. But yeah, I'm drinking this giant cup, and that as we talked about, this is what my why do I keep forgetting the name of it? Iced tea.
Long Island iced tea.
Long Island iced tea. I'm telling you, Em, I think I've really just
Have you drank some before you
I
got
think
here
I've
today?
aged 40 years in the last 5 days. I have so many white hairs. The world is falling apart. Anyway, I'm okay. You didn't ask that, but hello, how are you doing today?
Better than you, I
I
think.
feel a bit manic. I'm trying to slow it down by drinking some coffee. How are you doing?
I'm trying to, lose the stimulant by drinking stimulants. Yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
Well, I mean, first of all, what was going on? You had a stomach flu? Were you like getting
Oh
sick
yeah.
all the time?
Oh yeah. I pooped my pants for the first time in a few years, and that was not fun.
Brilliant.
I
Brilliant.
told myself I would not say that on air, and then I did immediately. It was one of the first things I
It
said.
happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
It
And
happens.
yeah, it happens. And Leona had it first, then Blaze had it. And so
Normalize pooping your pants.
listen, it is what it is, people,
I'll
okay?
put it this way, Christine, you're not the only person it's happened to, I'm sure.
Thank you so much for saying that. Because Leona looked at me and said that you're the only person that's ever happened to. And I said, stop bullying me.
She only knows like 4 people, to be fair. So
I know, that's true.
well,
I was
when my
like,
time comes, I'll feel less bad.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about it. I'll lead the way. But it's just been like, and we were in Virginia of all places for Easter visiting Leona's cousin, and I literally slept 16 hours straight, missed the entire Easter. I don't even know what happened. I like slept through the entire, and I was so
Good.
embarrassed because I sweat through all the sheets because had a fever. So in the middle of the night, I woke up and like did laundry. And like my sister-in-law came downstairs was like, what are you doing? I feel like I was just behaving like so bizarrely and strangely. And then I got home yesterday and now I have to pack. And by the way, today This is the worst story I've ever covered today. It's the worst story I've ever covered.
Yeah, Christine's on a little kick where she says that at the beginning of every show now,
I
because
think
last
maybe
week
it's me. Maybe I'm the problem, right? Like I'm just sensitive right now, maybe.
I think you're chasing that high, man, and you just keep pushing the limit.
I
You're
don't know what that is. It's like, what am I doing? You know?
because last week you said it was like one of the worst episodes
I
or
think
one of the worst stories you've covered, and now this
maybe
time you're like, oh no, this is worse.
it's, can I be honest? It's bad. It's so bad. It might be literally this one. I don't think I've ever had so many, well, Israel Keys and this one are the most nightmares I've had about
Oh,
cases.
excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how are
Well,
you?
hmm.
What smoothie
I
did you order?
okay, that's a great question. It's actually why I drink.
Tell me.
I'm
It's also
back.
what you drink.
It's what I drink and why I drink, which we've never had that combo before, I
That's
don't
really
think.
beautiful. Yep.
Because I drink because I'm back in tropical smoothie cafe territory. And remember, if you recall, back when I was home for like a whole month in December, I finally discovered my smoothie.
Oh, that's right. I do remember.
And so I finally got to have it again. And I haven't even had a sip yet because I want you to be a
Aw,
witness
a
to
part
it.
of it.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I literally have been thinking about this for the longest time, and I was hungry before we started recording, and I was like, do we think I'm in Trosmo territory? Do we think I am? And and
Wait, what do
we
you call
were
it? Trosmo?
Trosmo
I
tropical
love
smoothie.
that.
Nobody
Wait,
else
so
calls it that, by the way.
what's the flavor until now?
Until now. It's blueberry bliss, but I switch out the banana for mango because I
Mango.
don't fucking care. I think it's disgusting to have a banana in a smoothie. It overpowers the entire thing every time. Then I also get extra strawberries.
Yeah, okay. I was like, it's either pineapple or mango. Mango, that makes sense. That sounds delicious.
It's blueberry mango and then double strawberries, basically. It's I know I'm about to have a ethereal experience.
I'm so happy for you.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, oh my god. Oh my god. Ah! Okay, see? That was worth
Wow. Okay, you know what? I was so afraid because I was so afraid you'd be disappointed.
if they put a fucking banana in there. I know.
Yeah, I really sometimes I've realized recently that I have an issue with other people being disappointed because I started sweating so much and going, okay, don't worry. Just tell Em you can order another one if it tastes bad. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm glad it's delicious. I'm so glad.
It's it's exactly what I wanted. I'm so glad. I look, past me was so smart to order this one time and then it just stuck with me for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Anyway, that's why I drink. Also, I drink about something. I remember thinking, use this for
You
your art.
use this for your art.
Oh, I know what it was. This fucking dog, Christine.
Oh God. Don't you talk about Hank this way.
I had the worst day of my life recently. It probably wasn't the worst day of my life, but
Go
this
on.
was this was the first time I've had a depression nap, and in the depression nap, I had a dream where I told myself, when you wake up, you need to take a Xanax. That was
Wow.
and then I woke up and I had to take a Xanax.
Do you know what's so weird? My reason why I drank today, one of them was going to be that I had a dream last night that I took a Klonopin and then I told myself you have to take another one or else you won't be able to like sleep through the night. And then I realized I was out of Klonopin and I woke up in like panic. So I had like a dream also where I was instructing myself to medicate myself. That's so weird, Em. I've never
It's
had
weird.
that dream, so that's
No.
very weird timing.
This was the first time for me too, where because I think I've had things where like I obviously get like heart palpitations and things. I've noticed before that if I wake up before I'm ready, I will wake up with heart palpitations. It's very terrifying.
That is scary.
And if I'm having a really uncomfortable sleep, like let's say it's like really hot, like how it would affect your dream, or like now you're like in a sauna or something, I will get heart palpitations because my body's not like regulating.
Forget it. So you have to like maintain equilibrium at all times. I mean, that's horrible.
So even when I was asleep, I think I was so stressed out about how that day had gone that in my dreams I was like, oh, Xanax time, you need to fucking chill out because your heart's exploding while you're sleeping.
That's scary. We both had dreams about our fucking Xanax. Like, what the fuck? That's a bad sign.
So the reason that I had such a bad day was because Allison brought home a second dog to dog sit, not sit foster, thank God, but for a temporary foster, it seems. It's this little pug named Peanut, and
Oh,
no, I'm
no.
sorry. I'm about to
I felt it as it left my mouth. I went, wrong answer, Christine,
I'm
wrong answer.
I'm about to lose a lot of love from the pug people, but I'm sorry. I don't get it. I'm not a pug person.
What?
I'm just not.
You don't like the snarfing, the snoring?
I have I've never in my life been. I think this is why I needed a Xanax, because I have been constantly overstimulated by the
Oh, yeah, the noise, yeah.
like, it's not. I know for some of you it's like listening to like
Purring.
like a brook and water running over the rocks or something, but like I can't fucking stand it. It made
Those
me
people
want to
are
be
lying.
it made me want to be violent. I was like so overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed. I can't do it. And so if you're a pug person, all you're telling me is that like I think you're neurotypical, because there's no way that doesn't overstimulate you at some point.
It's a compliment then that you're probably like stable and okay.
You don't
and,
need anti-anxiety medication.
right. You don't have as much sensory stuff maybe, or maybe you have different sensory stuff.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it, because it apparently me and pugs are fucking ops. Like I can't
That's
stand this.
wild. What does Allison feel?
We keep looking at each other like, what's going on
What
here?
have we done? Okay. Okay.
But so we're watching Peanut for 10 days. He means well. He's like, it's not his fault he can't fucking
Of course.
breathe.
And that's the worst part is like they breed them that way so many times and then they get sick and they have those little short little snouts.
It's not his fault that I hate him, but I really just
Wow, that is the most Megan thing you've ever said. Hello. Hello.
But
Megan has entered the chat.
Honestly, at this point,
AIM sound was.
If you have one of those dogs that can barely breathe and it just makes that sound all the time, I give you your flowers, because like it's not something I can tolerate.
Is that a phrase? I've never heard that before.
I hope it is
I mean,
now.
I don't know. I'm not challenging you. I'm genuinely just asking because I say things like the gig. Which one is wrong?
You
I don't
can't
even know.
say it.
I literally don't know which one's right and which one's wrong. And you know what's so stupid? Every time someone says it, because I listen to a podcast and when people say it, I'm like, oh, that's wrong. And then I go, wait, no, that's probably right. It just feels wrong.
Mhm.
So I still don't know.
At this point, you have ruined me. I also don't know.
It's fantastic. So there's no way to know. That's perfect.
I'm pretty sure it started with jig, and now I'll never know.
No, now nobody knows. Yeah.
But so Peanut is like doing nothing wrong, but is my personal nightmare. And so he's just this tiny little thing who does nothing but just sit there.
It feels like a fucking cartoon, like a Cartoon Network thing where it's just this tiny little thing that's just like ruining your life.
It'd be one thing if like I was passing him on the street and we just
had a little snurfle.
We had a moment. Like I'd be like, oh, look at that cute little puppy whose sounds I never have to deal with. But this dog is like living in my house, and our house is the size of a laptop.
Right.
So, like,
and it kind of echoes in there, I bet you, because you're just moved in. There's not too much stuff. It's just echoing. Yeah.
And so I was already not loving this after like an hour. I was like, I have to go put headphones on or something. Then, as soon as we get him, of course, we find out, oops, Peanut has fleas.
But oh my god, what?
And because Hank is through a foster care system, we don't have like a vet or anything. We don't have like
go through
So we didn't know if he was even treated for fleas. We didn't know anything.
Oh my god.
So we were terrified that he was now going to get fleas. We were definitely worried that like our little shoebox of a house now had fleas everywhere.
Well, yeah.
So we had to spend the whole day cleaning the house.
And then you're traveling and it's like, well, shit. Yeah. Oh my god.
And we had to bring the dogs to the groomers, but there was only one slot open at two different places. We had to take them to two different groomers.
Oh
which
my
meant
god.
One of us, me, had to walk to Petco with Hank.
Good.
Allison had to take Peanut in the car to another place, which meant then we had to get a car wash because they were in the car. It was just such a nightmare. We finally got we had to get the house sprayed for fleas. Because I was like, it's in our bed. It's even if it wasn't, I was so petrified. I was like, it could be. And I'm a new dog parent, it seems, so I didn't know what to do. So I was like, let's just get everything cleaned. We'll take both of them to the groomers. Hey, this is where I found out that Hank hates the groomer.
Uh-oh.
In a way that like they gave him back in 15 minutes and they were like, we can't groom him or else he'll hurt himself because he's yanking himself off the table.
No.
And I mean, I should have known because bringing him into Petco, he was doing the thing where he was trying to put all of his gravity in his
Mhm.
ass, so I had to drag him through.
Mhm.
He is terrified of Petco. He's terrified of the groomers. And I don't know if he thought like he was about to get rehomed or put back in a cage or
Dogs just don't
something.
like that. They don't like it ever, but some dogs fucking freak out like that.
He
Thankfully, Geo
freaked out.
just freezes. Like,
Yeah,
and so
not
it's,
mine.
I don't say thankfully, like, it's just his reaction is he just freezes. And so he's gotten okay with it. But some dogs, like, they just never get used to it because they fight it. And it's
Yeah.
like, then they have to go home.
So
Yeah.
so I mean, if he wasn't on a leash, he would have bolted
Ugh.
into the busy road. Like he was
Oh my God.
terrified. Um So, and also, so we were like, oh, we could get him groomed, also flea treatments, all this stuff. No, they were like, you have to do it yourself at your house in a bath, where he's, by the way, terrified of water.
Mm.
So then I had to give him a bath, and this is where I found out it's not just the groomer; it's like bathtubs or running water at all freaks him out, like
Oh
to the same
no.
level. He, it was after we just finally cleaned up the house from all the flea treatment stuff. We had just mopped the floors. We had just done everything. It was a perfect house except the bathroom. And I put him in the bath. Freaks the fuck out. I'm throwing him into the wall just to hold him still so I can scrub him. And of course, this flea treatment, you need to keep it in for like 10 minutes on his
Hmm.
skin. He's freak. I mean, it was like a 90s comedy where like I fell into the bath with him in all my
Hmm.
clothes. Like, then I tried to like get up.
Except
At
it's
some
not
point,
funny because you have to deal with the aftermath.
oh, I
Yeah.
was crying. I was crying the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
At
Yeah.
one
It's not
point,
funny. Yeah. Oof.
while standing in the bathtub, he, without a running start or anything, I'm standing up. I'm 6 feet tall. He leaps over me at 6 feet, just
Oh
from
my God.
resting. I picked him up, like I caught him in the air like Dirty Dancing. And I'm just begging, and I'm just like, please, Hank, I've had a really bad day. I've had a really bad day. And he's just like squirming and scratching the shit out of me. I've got like I don't know if you can see it. I just had like bumps and scratches all over me.
Oh my God.
Um, it was a nightmare. He escapes the bathroom 3 different times, floods the house that we just cleaned. Then of course, and only the spots with all the electronics is where he shakes his entire body off full of water. Then I have to grab him and like crocodile hunter wrangle him back into the bathtub to like try to rinse it out. He won't let me rinse it out. He escapes again. I have to grab his collar. I take him to the yard and I have to hose him down. He's acting like it's torture. A- And then eventually he just dried with some of the treatment still on him. And I was like, I don't know if this burns your skin or something, but I can't get it.
Sorry, like you're not
It was
letting
like
me. Yeah.
wrangling the Hulk. It was a nightmare. So I don't think he's ever gonna be clean. We're just gonna have to stick with like baby wipes
I
and call it a
mean,
day.
I don't bathe my dog for similar reasons.
Okay, great. Anyway,
I don't
that's
even
why I
take my
drank.
cats. I take my cat to the vet if it needs to happen. Otherwise, I'm like, I'm not in for that today or ever.
I'd
No.
I've never met a dog who hates it that much. And part of me feels like maybe he came from a background where like he's acting like he was drowned or something. Like he's I don't know, but
Yeah, who knows? I mean, who knows? Yeah, it's you never know with these like fostered and adopted any dog. It's like who knows what they've
anyway.
seen.
That's why I drink, because then as soon I mean, it took all day to clean everything. Then I have to clean it like 3 more times because he kept like just flooding the place. And then the whole time, peanuts in my ear going. I was like, I have to go to fucking bed.
Oh my God. I mean, the context really does like add something to it. The context of the bath and all that adds something to the peanut like overstimulation thing.
I was so pissed, and so Xanax
Ugh.
was the solution. Anyway,
Sometimes
that
that's the
was
only thing. Yeah.
a really long why I drink, but I needed to tell it to
I'm like
somebody.
not breathing now, man. Yeah, no, I like oh, yeah.
Why
Well,
do you
so what
drink?
do you Oh, thank you for asking. I have so many reasons, but this morning I was trying not to I'm like really really stressed about the case I'm covering today. I've just really been having nightmares about it and I mean, we'll get into it obviously, but I this morning, well, and then on top of that, which I feel like but my family doesn't listen to this show, I don't think. But there's just been a lot of stuff internally, family wise, that has been very, very. I don't know
Intense.
how. Yeah, I don't know how honest we get on this show. I guess we get pretty damn honest. I have no idea, but it's like it's just very
It's your
heart
life
heavy.
and your show. You
Yeah,
can say whatever you
I
want.
guess I can say what I want, huh? It's just very heart heavy. I'm in a very kind of a consistent state of mourning right now,
Hmm.
and it's been very it's just been a lot. And then when I'm like covering this case and it's just like, fuck my life, I'm having nightmares about that. I'm having nightmares about these people that I'm having a hard time with. And then I'm just going to school with Leona and I see two birds fucking.
Do you?
And I thought, oh no, those birds are hurt. And then I look closer and Leona goes, what are they doing? And I went, uh-oh, they're playing.
The literal birds and the bees.
The birds and the bees, happy spring. It's like mid-April. I'm like, wow, okay. So I bring her into school and I go, hey, I'm pretty sure those birds, because now the kids are looking out the window. I'm like, I'm pretty sure those birds, I just like, I
having
don't care.
A mating call.
Right. And I'm like, honestly, I'm hoping they're doing that kind of play fighting, right? Because
you don't want to see a bird kill another bird in front of children.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. I was like, I'd rather them be doing something like, you know, procreating in front of the children. Sorry, that sounds so fucked up, but like them dying, you know,
like something you can justify.
Wrestling, right. And so everyone's kind of looking out the window and I'm going, oh God. And then all of a sudden we're all like, are they stuck? And I'm like, holy shit, these birds are stuck together. I'm not even kidding. Like they're stuck. Like their legs are stuck or something. And I'm like, oh no. And so I go outside and I'm already like half just not well because of like, I knew we were covering this story today. I've been like on edge about this other stuff. And so I'm like already on edge and I go, what should I do? And the teacher's like, just go like maybe go see. So I go outside ready to like kind of shoo them. And now all of a sudden I go outside, I look at the window, all these children and the teacher and the teacher's aide are all looking out the window. And I'm just trying to see these birds who are fornicating, to stop fornicating.
A sitcom TV show.
Right. It felt like insane. And then all of a sudden I'm like stomping around the parking lot because they're also on the floor of the parking lot. I'm like, I also don't want them to get fucking run over because they're fucking. And so I'm like trying
Did you pull them apart?
I did not touch them. Don't worry. But I got like, I was like, shoo. I don't know. And eventually they finally untangled and everyone started clapping. And I was like, this is the weirdest day. And so then I said, I went to like give Leona her backpack and I said, I'm going to go call my therapist. And I just shut the door and I like drove home and I was like, what is going on in the world?
I mean, in a TV show where there's an A storyline and a B storyline, like I would be at home falling into the bathtub with the stupid dog.
Yes. And I would be like yelling at two birds, hitting them with a stick to try and save them from I don't what I think is a certain death, but really they're just like in love. I have no idea. The whole day just feels weird, and now I'm here with you. And Em said, "Did you bring something to help?" And I brought these Airheads Extremes, and I promise I will not be eating them on air because, as Em said, people will love that. I promise I won't. But
the only thing worse than hearing a horrible, violent, torturous murder that you're probably going to cover is the smacking of an airhead in between words.
Exactly. And I would not do that. So these are for the yappy hour is what I'm saving these for. So anyway, all that to say, it's just a weird time, folks. And I don't know what it's like on the listening end because I think in our lives, it feels like things, I mean, I speak for myself, I don't know, but it feels like things are just like so rapid right now. Does that feel like that for you? Or not really?
I don't know if that's, I would say things feel, I'm with you. The energy's there, but I wouldn't.
Turbulent?
Turbulent's a better word.
Yeah, maybe turbulent. And so I don't know what it's like on the other listening end week to week because it's like we took so much, it feels like so much happened since we recorded. And I mean, I know it's kind of always like that, but I don't know. The birds had to be mentioned. I had to talk about the birds because it was like, who else will hear about this besides my therapist and Blaze and everybody else?
You know,
and all the children in preschool.
And all the children. Well, the children, of course, they
learned something. I don't know what they learned, and it was probably
it's certainly something they're going to talk about later in life, and then go, wait a minute.
Leona's mommy. Yeah, hang on a second. What was Leona's mommy doing? Like getting involved with those two birds?
Well, what type of birds were they? Since you're into bird watching.
Thank you so much.
Not
for
that
asking.
kind of bird watching, but
yeah, they were. I believe they were rabbit. They were bird watching.
Technically, it feels like it was a threesome you were partaking in today.
And that's what I'm saying. I felt like I was kind of inserting myself. I should not have been part of it, but I also felt like nobody else was there to kind of break up the party.
How do you think David Attenborough would have narrated that?
Oh, wow. And then a stupid human decides to come, add a British accent, but like a stupid human thinks it's her job to interfere with nature and so on and so forth. Yeah.
You said they were robins.
I think they were robins.
Nice.
To be fair, I was more their wings were so intense because they were like either stuck together or that's just how they do it on the floor of the parking lot. I'm not sure. But
What if
it
they
was
were having
scary.
like the craziest, hottest sex in
That's
the
what
whole world and
I
you
know.
ruined it?
And I fucked it up. That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's
David
embarrassing.
Attenborough would be so ashamed of me, and like rightfully so.
Oh, well, I'm embarrassed of you. Does that count?
Yeah, it feels helpful to know that. Thank you.
Good. Okay, great. Shall we?
Yes. Let's do it. So my dog has an attitude problem, as everybody knows. But with that comes some serious picky eating. It's not even picky eating. Like, he eats rocks, right? But this dog also, when it comes to actually meals, he's very picky. And so when we discovered Ollie, it was like he wouldn't eat anything else anymore. And I feel like I've made a big mistake, but also maybe done the best thing. It's hard to tell as a parent. You know what I mean? What you're doing.
Ollie delivers clean, fresh nutrition in 5 drool-worthy flavors. You don't need to be a veterinary nutritionist to know that real, minimally processed food is the best choice for your dog's health. And I guarantee you, Gio could taste all of that in one bite.
All the vitamins.
It's like, it's made in U.S. kitchens with high-quality human-grade ingredients, and Ollie's food contains no fillers, no preservatives, just real food. And because it's gently cooked and delivered fresh, there's no need for artificial shelf life extenders.
They basically have you fill out this 30-second quiz, and they can make a customized meal plan based on their weight, their activity level, and so that is really good too. It's very customizable. Ollie crunches the numbers and gives you the right portions. It's awesome. Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Head to ollie.com/drink. Tell them all about your dog and use code DRINK to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today.
Plus, they offer a clean bowl guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/drink and enter code DRINK to get 60% off your first box. Money's hard, but luckily we got ourselves Rocket Money, which is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I really do feel like I have an adult holding my hand.
No, it's game changing, and it's free, people. It's free.
Literally,
it's free. Get it. It's free. It's so helpful. I've like I made my sister download it, made my brother. I'm like making everybody do it because it's so helpful to have.
You can see all your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money's going. And for ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. Their dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all your accounts, which is so lovely because I'm constantly wondering, do I have $0? What's happening here?
Well, it's like, how much did I spend on my dog last month versus like my child? Yeah, it's very weird to be able to separate those categories.
And you can get alerts in if bills increase in price. That's also helpful because sometimes I'm wondering, has the money gone up? Has it gone away? Where are we? Anyway, Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you, which if you have phone anxiety like Christine, that's another game changer. Just a bunch of game changers over here.
It is. It's amazing. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/drink today.
That's rocketmoney.com/drink. rocketmoney.com/drink. So, okay, I have a really short one for you today. It's like half a page of notes. I was expecting there to be like
I'm pretty sure I told Em, hey, I have to push a half hour because I'm so traumatized by my story. And then Em just cut their own story in half.
I actually just deleted the second half.
Yeah, you just deleted your story. I'm like, honestly, the way I presented it, you're probably like, oh God, it's 2 sentences.
No, I found a short one because in my head for some reason I thought that there was like a documentary about it or like a TV shows had covered it. So I did one that I found a short amount of notes online so I could just do TV coverage for some of it. And then there like no one covered it. I don't know where I got that idea in my mind so now I just have short notes. So whoops.
I'm not complaining because you're going to have to hear a lot from me today and I apologize.
Well, I also talked for 40 minutes about a pug I don't like, so.
Oh my God, sorry. That got me. I don't know why. That poor pug, and we all know it's not the pug's fault, but somehow the pug is just like the straw, the last straw.
And like he's doing nothing wrong. I'm sure he's breathing heavier because he's like scared in a house he doesn't know. Like,
and he's also like, somebody made my nose too short.
Yeah, it's like the aristocrats, blame them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not Peanut's fault. However, some people you're just born to not love.
It's sort
And
of like that therapist thing. Eva and I always try to remind each other, like, instead of saying but, you say and. Like, it's not his fault, and it's
oh,
incredibly difficult to live with. Yeah.
yeah, it's just when you meet people and there's something where cosmically you were meant to not like each
You're
other.
just kind of at odds. Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's my brain and the sound of heavy breathing.
I
That's
got
what's
you.
so sorry, Peanut. And
I
I'm sorry
got
to all
you.
the pug lovers who now hate me, but again, you deserve a trophy because it's not something I could handle. Um, okay, here we go with some short notes. This is the hotel. I hope I'm saying it right. YouTube said it was right. Leave me alone. The Makeomer, the Hotel Macomber.
Oh, lovely.
It's in Cape May, which is very haunted on its own. I feel
I know
like.
about Cape May.
Have you been?
I have not been, but my well, one of my best friends growing up, I had a lot. No, I realized when I said, oh, well, one of them, and I was like, well, I had like two. I didn't mean it like that. But one of my close friends at school used to go every summer, and I remember she'd always miss my birthday because she'd be at Cape May, and she would
Hmm.
always write like a postcard home for my birthday, and she'd always be like, one day we'll go together, and then we were no longer friends. But she
Ooh.
sometimes listens to this podcast, so hi Emily, if you're out there. And every time I hear Cape May, Emily, I think of you.
And how we're not friends anymore.
No, and I miss being friends with you. We just went our separate ways in high school, I think, but probably for
As
good.
we go
Yeah, I mean,
on.
she had plenty of good reason, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I always think of her with Kate May, but she would go every summer and she loved it.
I
Loved it.
also really like Cape May. I haven't been a lot, but the times that I've been, it's one of those places
It's
where
New Jersey, right?
It's in New
Hmm.
Jersey. It's considered, fun fact, the country's oldest seaside resort destination.
Didn't know that. I probably on one of the postcards she sent me somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah.
And underneath it says P.S. We're done. So
Yeah. P.S. You're such a freak.
no, Cape May is I vividly remember my mom taking me to Cape May one time with her best friend and then the best friend's daughter. So it was the four of us. Um, and
Fun.
and we were all
What if it was
very
Emily?
close.
Was it Emily?
No.
Can you imagine? I didn't get invited. You did.
No. She was we like all grew up together.
Cute.
Or well, me and the friend grew up together. Uh but it was really fun. I will tell you my own personal ghost story from Cape May at the end.
What? Okay.
But Cape May, before we even got there, I think I was like 12 at the time, and this was the era where I like was not talking to my mom, and not even in a normal teenager way. Like it still has never actually been discussed and needs to be in therapy.
Really?
I really cold shouldered her for like a year and a half.
I
Like
feel
did
like
not speak
you've
to her.
mentioned that to me, and I've never really absorbed it.
I don't know what was going on. I wish I could give her the piece of
Did
where
you
like I
did
tell
you
her.
journal?
No.
Mm.
I think I just fully shut down. In hindsight, maybe there was like some like tendencies going on there that
Yeah.
I have yet to still know a lot about.
Let's get into it in the yappy hour. I can
Okay.
diagnose you.
Okay, great. My mom would love that because she's still like, "What did I do wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't know, girl. I don't know. I'm
Oh,
sorry."
she still talks about it, sort of like.
Oh, it broke her heart. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant
we're
like
fine now.
it's never been addressed, like you've never talked about it. But like you mean you've never like
I've
gotten
never
to the bottom of
solved.
it.
We've never cracked the
Oh.
case.
Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. We'll talk about it in the happy hour. We don't
Okay.
have to.
We can.
Everybody,
I don't
but
care. I was
we might.
13. It could just be that I was an asshole. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that
But
couldn't be it.
so but I think one of her pulls of why she wanted to take me here is because it's so notoriously haunted and she knew I like ghosts. So
Aw.
anyway, Cape May's very haunted. I would like to do a whole episode just on Cape May, but I feel like there's a lot of material to cover there. I feel like we could do like a month on Cape May if we wanted to. So anyway, this Hotel Makeomer is a historic landmark. It has an award-winning restaurant inside of it. The scariest thing about it to me, 5 stories, no elevator.
Gasp.
Firm pass. It was built in 1916, and at the time, it was, quote, the largest framed structure east of the Mississippi.
They always have an east of the west of the Mississippi.
We don't say that enough anymore. I feel like that was how every story was framed back then. Like,
It's like, how do you prove that? You can't, which is why it's the best compliment or the best like claim to fame.
I had when I was in driver's ed, my driving teacher was like an old southern man, and you know how you're in the car with like 2 wheels and like he can control it from his end?
Uh-huh.
He was like apparently in case you fucked up, he was like ready to like grab his wheel like at any moment, and he would say, "I got the quickest left hand on the east of the Mississippi." And I was like, "What the hell's I know who he voted for,
And then
probably.
you drove into a pole. And he was like, why does that always happen?
Sorry, that was not me blowing my nose. That was me coughing. I did hit a pole the moment he gave me a temporary license.
Wait, did
So-
you actually?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I
No,
was
I
kidding.
really like the first time I ever drove.
Stop.
It was my mom's brand new Lexus.
She's like, what did I do wrong? And you're like, I don't know. I was crashing your Lexus. I don't know what you did. But
It was the
wow.
first time I had just gotten my
Get out of here.
permit or I don't even know how it goes anymore. But I was 15. It was
The temporary whatever.
It was the day I was allowed to drive with like people with like adults in the car.
Oh my
And
God.
my mom said, "Why don't you drive us to dinner?" And so we got in
Oh
her
my
car.
God.
Her fault for putting a 15-year-old
brand new car? Are you kidding me?
She would have been like, "Why don't you drive?" I don't know. We didn't have another car. But I was trying to park. I mixed up the gas and the brakes, slammed it right into the pole, and I was so mortified. Fun fact. Sorry, this is like a whole like episode about my lore. I'm sorry, everybody, but
I love it. I feel like it's making me feel whole again.
well, I was so devastated at the dinner table. I felt so bad and so guilty, and I was just like obviously
Oh,
really hurting.
you felt ashamed.
Yeah,
Poor
yeah, it was
thing.
so embarrassing. I was like literally not even 20 minutes with my fucking license.
Oh.
And my mom said this really poignant thing, and she even said, "I want you to remember this conversation." And she said, "When I was a little kid, I spilled a candle all over the carpet, and it was a brand new carpet. And I was so horrified and so upset and so embarrassed and scared that my parents were going to be mad at me. And my dad sat me down and said, I want you to remember this conversation. Because when I was a kid, I melted crayons on the radiator that we got. And my dad was really kind to me. And it was the only time that he said that I get a pass. And because he could tell that I was punishing myself more than he could ever punish me.
Oh.
So this is your turn, Linda. You spilled all over the brand new carpet. It's ruined, but you're punishing yourself more than I could ever do. So I want you to remember this. And this one day when you have a kid, they get one pass. And so my mom at that table said, this is your one pass. You could thank your great grandfather for starting this tradition. And one day, if you have a kid and they fuck up really bad and you can tell that they're hurting, they get a pass.
It's when you stood there with the hose and Hank stared you down and you said, Hank, this is your one. Sit down, Hank. I want you to remember this conversation.
The only difference is he felt no fucking remorse.
Yeah, he was like, honestly, the cycle starts now. You can't win me over with your gentle parenting ways.
Anyway, so it's apparently a thing. So to my future
now
kids,
I'm crying already. I was supposed to wait to cry to tell my story, but that got me. That's beautiful.
I like how
said that to me, but that sounds nice. And if I'm gonna say that to somebody, it's nice.
Well,
it's a nice thing.
If I like how one of them like spilled crayons and another spilled a candle, and I crashed
And then
a
you
Lexus.
drove a Lexus into a car. That, I mean, really, like with that progression, your child is going to like I don't know,
crash into the sun. Yeah,
I was literally going to say like break the moon or something fucking insane that like ruins humanity. Wow, that's powerful stuff.
We got through one bullet point, by the way, east of the Mississippi.
Yeah, let's get back to your very short notes.
Okay. So the hotel, it really thrived because it was built right around the time that automobiles were becoming popular. So now there's this increase in drivers, aka increase in tourists. So a lot of people are coming into the area. It may have also contributed to why the place is so haunted because it was one of the first places to get really popular as a destination resort. So when the Hotel Macomber was built, it was originally called the New Stockton Villa. Ooh. And the original owner was named Sarah Davis, who, fun fact, becomes a ghost. While running the hotel, Sarah actually lost her daughter, and she ended up dying by suicide, we think at the hotel, although that's undocumented. And this was in the 1930s. And the only other history thing I have for you is today it is a family-run boutique hotel, and during any renovations throughout its years is when activity resurfaces the most. But that's literally all the important bits I feel like I need to give you. If you happen to work at this hotel and there's like so much more I missed, blame Google. I don't know what to tell you. Here are some of the ghosts. The first one is Miss Wright.
Ooh.
Her name we think is Irene Wright. Before we knew her name of Irene Wright, people called her the Trunk Lady.
Okay, she's like, Irene. Get it in your head. It's
She was like,
Irene.
"Someone get a Ouija board. I need to
Oh my
spell out
god,
my fucking name."
seriously. Something.
So she was it's
Fog up a
interesting.
mirror, at least.
That's a great point, yeah.
Right? Like, there should be some way to get her name
Spell it
across.
out in tissues, yeah.
Right.
So, we think if it was Irene Wright, the story goes that Trunk Lady was a regular at the hotel in the 1940s, and she would come to Cape May either with her family or at least her husband for years. It was a regular spot for them. Now, there's what I saw online is that there's a bunch of different versions of this because it's now kind of a bit of a lore. Um, so she either always came to Cape May with her husband or she came with her family. She
Mhm.
either always came to this hotel or she would sample all the hotels in the area depending on the
She would
time she came.
sample them. Just like, do your bop
Yeah.
around.
But whatever, she was always in Cape May and she was a regular visitor. When her husband died, her kids encouraged her to keep going to Cape May without
Mhm.
him. And when she would come to the Makeomer, she would always stay in what was their favorite room, which is room
Aw.
10. So she was known for wearing a lot of perfume. She would also bring a really large trunk with her when she would
Imagine being
stay.
known for wearing a lot of perfume. That would be so embarrassing. Like,
I
oh, you
know.
know my friend Irene? Oh, the one who wears a lot of perfume. Like, that's just such an insulting thing to be known for. I mean, I get that it's the ghost, right? Like, you can smell
Yeah.
the perfume. But it's like, oh, if somebody described me that way, I'd be like, okay, I gotta reevaluate. Like, it's like the time somebody like talked about my eyebrows and everyone started arguing, and I went, I gotta go look in a mirror and figure this out.
I
You
would have
know,
just
like,
Britney Spears shaved him off and started all
right.
over.
I almost
Yeah.
did. But it's like, so if somebody said that, I'd be like, I gotta look inward and figure out what this perfume thing's all about.
I guess I don't know what the etiquette of the 40s was, but I feel like if you like reeked of a perfume, it was like having like a signature scent.
That's true. And it was probably, I mean, you know, it's expensive, right? Like, it's probably
Yeah.
like a luxury item. Yeah.
I don't know. I think even if I time traveled back to the 40s, I'd go, yikes, that's a lot of
Yeah.
fucking
I have
smell.
a feeling, especially when you smell those kind of older ones that are like so musky. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Part of me also wonders because like, has it just been sitting in a bottle for decades and that's why it's such an intense smell? Like, was it
It's
always
like
super intense?
fermenting. Yeah.
Was it
I don't
always super
know.
intense or was that like the
I
thing?
feel like it was because they would just put like, well, I think they're supposed to just put little dabs on, you know?
If you were to put on a scent right now, how much and where do you put it?
I just go like this. I don't have, or I just go on my wrist and do this.
I've always heard
then
wrists and like
here.
behind the ears.
Yeah,
or, like
and then
the
like
neck.
and then the neck, the under your ears, sort of, where it's like where it like pulse, where your like pulses.
In my mind, it's so that way when you reach out to hug somebody, you're getting smell and then smell during the hug. That's
So it's supposed to be like, so yeah, so it's sort of wafting from when, yeah, if you like hug someone or whatever, but it's also you have your pulse here and your pulse here, and they're warm, and so it's supposed to like,
secrete.
I think, yeah, or like keep the scent longer. I don't know.
Huh.
Like, I know when you're
Okay.
cold, you're supposed to run warm water over like your wrists and like here too,
Like
'cause
pressure
it, like,
points.
yeah, like the circulation is. Listen, I don't. What the fuck do I know? I'm not the trunk lady, but I bet she had probably it down to a science.
Except, I mean, maybe. I guess depending on who you talk to.
I guess so.
So she was also known for dragging a big trunk to the hotel and into her room when she would say, because remember, we've had this conversation before, that suitcases with
Luggage.
wheels didn't exist until like
And
the 70s, 80s.
5 floors with no elevator. What are they? She's just making a bellhop carry that upstairs.
That's why her favorite room was room 10, which is probably on the first floor. She was like,
I
"Mm."
hope so. I really hope so. Because if that's on the top floor, that poor bellhop.
And yeah, I mean, I think we said 70s or 80s is when wheels on luggage started happening, but
Mhm.
it wasn't popular until the 90s.
Yeah.
Which like, how was it not popular immediately? That would have been
But do
like
you-
Forbes #1 invention. And
Right? But do you remember as a
1970.
kid, like, we always had those giant duffel bags, like those LL
Yeah.
Bean, like, giant duffel bags, and we didn't have the giant rolly suitcases until the 90s. It's so weird.
I think I just missed the cutoff though, because by the time suitcases had wheels was when I was like big enough that I was expected to carry my own suitcase. Because
Mm.
when I was a little kid, whether or not I had wheels, I was a little kid. I wasn't carrying my bag. you know?
So when you were 28, your mom said you finally need to carry your own suitcase, and
It's
you
your
said,
turn.
"This one has wheels."
Yeah, I know. I did also remember backpacks. We can't even get into it right now.
I mean, certainly the backpack that has to be a yappy hour conversation. Put a pin in that.
Well, so she was known as the trunk lady, which is weird to me that she was known as the trunk lady because she would whatever. People now hear heavy dragging and they associate it with her, but couldn't it have been anyone who had to lug luggage?
And I also imagine she wasn't the one carrying the luggage.
Right? Like
yeah,
when
especially as an older woman, like
who's regularly
a regular,
going here, like she
Mhm.
would get special treatment at least.
I would think that somebody would carry her, a kindly gentleman or somebody or a staff member would carry it.
Well, it's interesting you say that because there is a lot of hesitation on whether or not Trunk Lady and Miss Wright are the same person, because she used to be known as the Trunk Lady because people would smell perfume and they would hear a trunk dragging, so they would assume it's a woman with a trunk. Apparently, at some point, someone started working at the hotel who knew the original owners or knew like former employees and said something like, "Oh, that's Irene Wright. That's Miss Wright." So that's how her name gets attached to this.
Mm.
Because he just took whatever information he heard, put it with Irene
Okay.
Wright. But another weird thing is that apparently Irene Wright didn't have a husband or kids. So, like, I don't know where the story's coming from. It's all
Oh.
over the place. I hate to be so confusing, but I'm just telling you how confusing it was even for me.
Yeah. So it's basically like a case of he said, "Oh, this is probably
It's
Irene
someone.
whatever because we know that name exists. We'll just put that label on this ghost."
Yeah. And I think she
Okay.
was probably a regular, and they're like, oh, maybe it was her because she was a regular and she just wanted
Right.
to stay here. Like, make up a
So
story
it
with
like
that.
fit the story a little bit. Yeah.
So I'm still just gonna call her Trunk Lady, even though it's probably more disrespectful, but it maybe isn't
I
Irene.
mean, maybe
It's
not. Maybe it's probably better than giving her the wrong name, I guess.
yeah. Well, some say that this is the most haunted room with the most activity. So if you want to get haunted, go to room 10 of the Makeomer.
Mhm.
And others say that some people say, oh, it's like really haunted and full of activity and really spooky. But some people, like that one room in your mom's house, they say it's the calmest, most peaceful sleep they've ever had.
Aw.
So I wonder if it's like just if she likes you or not.
It's the vibes, right? Like you have to be a good fit.
Yeah. So the room is also most active during the summer because that's allegedly when Miss Wright would be there. People say that in room 10, they have felt cold spots. They've heard voices talking to them. They've heard doors slamming. They've heard banging on the walls. They've heard banging on their door in a hallway where nobody's there.
Mm,
The dresser drawers will open and close themselves. The lights will turn on and off. They'll feel a weirdly uncomfortable or weirdly intense presence in there.
mm-mm,
The chairs will rock themselves.
mm-mm.
And this is the creepiest thing for me, is that the clocks, your personal clocks or watches will either run fast or slow or stop altogether until you leave the room and they'll go back to normal.
Ew! Okay, that's interesting. That goes into some quantum physics shit.
Now that I don't like. Yeah, that's
Now
time and
that
space.
we don't have time for today, but man, do I want to get into that. The time just stops or it warps in this room. That's fascinating to me.
I had the nerve to just think maybe we should have like a physicist on and like ask them how it works.
LOL.
And then they would go, it doesn't. There are no such thing as ghosts.
Ghosts don't do that. Yeah. Well, a quantum physicist might have more to say. I'm just saying.
That's a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Eva, find us a quantum physicist. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next ghost is the original owner, Sarah, who died by suicide, we think, in the hotel. People have seen her by the stairs. They've seen her at the front desk. She allegedly plays music for people. She will move your clothes around in the closets, which I guess you got to kill time somehow.
Yeah, just organizing
Just, yeah, by size, by color,
by color,
by
whatever
what she thinks
strikes
is
your fancy.
fugly.
Yeah, you just find some like way in the back, and you're like, "What is this all about?"
You see one in the trash when you get back. You're like,
"Oops, what's this doing here?"
She makes the lights flicker, and apparently they say that her daughter, who passed away, is still with her, and people hear children's spirits throughout the hotel. So they'll hear kids laughing, they'll hear kids running down the halls. One investigator got this is a quote, an EVP of marbles being dropped and a child's voice then saying, "These are mine."
Oh, that's
Precious.
so cute. Why is that cute? But half the shit, like 99% of the time when a child's voice appears, we're like, ah!
You know what? I think it's because it's as innocent as marbles.
It's marbles. I think it's just like, it's mine, which is like what a child would say. Not like, come
Mhm.
play with me, you know.
I feel like you and I should have like a whole day where we learn the old what all the ghosts would play back in the day. Like we should play hoop and stick. We should play marbles. We
Okay,
should.
I need you to understand. You know our friend from Libby, Joe.
Mhm.
So we were on his podcast, and what's it called? Professional book nerds. And so he just texted me recently and was like, "Did you know about this? In Ohio, there is like this convention of like a hoop and stick convention. Did you know about this? Did we talk about this
Do
before?"
I want you to sit with yourself and ask me, have I not gone and also known about something? No, I would be there. I would have been there.
Okay,
We
I
would have
just want
been
to make
there.
sure. I guess I just want to make sure I didn't like fugue state, you know, like
We
during
would
my
have
pregnancy or something.
we
It's
would
called.
have taken it over with the and that's why we drink community.
So this is why Joe texted me. He goes, "It's in Ohio. It's called Hoop and Stick Con. It's at Ravenwood Castle, which is like 40 minutes from me, like really close." And he's like, "Why is this not a thing you guys do?" And I was like, "I don't know." But the 13th annual was just held February 27th through March 2nd. And they were like trying to get sponsors and like all this stuff. And I'm
Trying
like,
to get
I know. I was like, I've never been so offended for no good reason in my whole life.
the
And
way
so,
that we're about to be their only
do you
sponsor
have
needed.
any idea? And by
We're
the way,
sponsoring
like,
them.
we are absolutely. And I want to show you, I was like, it's honestly good it just passed. So we have a year to like prepare. But like, here's the picture. I'm going to send it to you because it is just, their logo is hilarious. It's called the Hoop and Stick Con. And guess what, Em? Guess what? Guess what?
Tell
The
me.
entire ticket, everything, it's a donation to the Children's Miracle Network. It's all for charity. Like, this is so cool. Hoop and Stick Con. A
8
weekend of board
years.
games, role-playing games, and general gaming goodness in a castle. Like,
8 years
is this
we've been doing this.
8
and we
years
didn't
we've been
know.
doing this? What kind of
Why
nonsense?
why did we go to CrimeCon? We should have been a hoop and
Why?
stick this entire
Why
time.
did we do anything?
HSC.
No, that's. I'm so glad that you brought up the because I was like, he's texted me that like a week ago, and I was like, I have to remember to talk about this. Yeah, so you know what? And they have an online auction, and it's all for charity. I'm like, we got to get on this. This is amazing. Anyway, next year. Hey, are you listening, Hoop and Stick Con? Do you have internet? How does this work? I want to be
Somebody
part of this.
reach out to them now.
It's all for
now.
children's hospitals. Please help me. Help me be part of this. Anyway,
100%.
thank you, Joe, for introducing me to this. And go listen to Joe's podcast. It's really good. Professional book nerds. Okay, anyway. Sorry, yes, Hoop and Stick Con. This is happening 2026.
Easy.
Easy.
Okay. There's a ghost of a waitress who choked on chicken bone.
Oh, no.
She is seen floating in the kitchen wearing an old uniform, which is like, I'm calling it an old uniform. Every other website has called it a ragged dress. Relax.
Ah!
That's the other ghost who's like deciding if your clothes are ugly or not.
Yeah. She's like, that thing?
She's like, your ugly little rag. Yeah.
Like,
okay.
please, check my closet. There's so many other things you could change into.
But she's been seen floating around wearing her ragged dress. She will also flicker the lights of the chandeliers. She moves items around in the kitchen. She'll move your silverware. She'll move your glasses. She'll adjust the tablecloths. She's known to mess with the chef's knives. Not something to mess with, girl.
No.
And she will touch people, and by touch people, I mean push them near the walk-in fridge.
What?
Which like feels like all feels location-wise very apropos for an old waitress. But like if you're near a walk-in fridge, tell me if I'm wrong. Isn't it like all waitresses like they all cry in the walk-in fridge? Like why would you push someone who's already at their limit, you know?
That's a good point. Maybe it's sort of like that thing of like coming through, you know, and it's like maybe it's just an old residual like people bumping into each other, and that's just where that happened.
That's a great point.
I don't know. But yeah, I think you're right. Like that feels like the last place you'd want to be bumped.
It's like that would be my last straw. If I'm already
walking
walking
at the end of your rope. Yeah, you're already like
I'm
really
walking here to cry. Like and now you're gonna push me. Also in the dining room, people right above them, they hear the sound of this is a quote, heavy furniture moving despite rooms being carpeted and the furniture being wicker.
That is crazy. That's one of my favorites is when you like hear upstairs because it feels less threatening.
Yeah.
in the moment.
But also it's like extra creepy when you know like there's nothing up there to drag and
And the
nothing to
carpet.
drag it on. Yeah.
That to me is always so creepy. I love that.
And also like that implies, unless that room above the dining room is room 10, it implies that there's more than just trunk lady. There's
That's
trunk
true.
people.
It's a whole trunk family.
It's like the borrowers, but
Yeah.
worse.
But so much worse.
Yeah, I imagine there's just a bunch of I refuse to believe that there's one trunk lady. I really think
No, and I feel like they're just lumping everyone together. It's like, no, let them have their individual identities here.
and like what if someone drags while someone else shoves, while someone else scoots?
And who doesn't have heavy luggage back then? There's no wheels on them.
There's
Everyone
no wheels.
had heavy
Everyone had a
luggage.
heavy rectangle.
Yes.
And you expected someone upstairs to not
trunk it along.
That's not one woman. That's every single person.
Everybody had a trunk.
There's also the ghost of an angry man, apparently. They say
good.
he's downstairs in the basement. He is called the Growler.
Ah! Sorry, that was really upsetting. I didn't expect that.
Obviously because he growls down there. He also moves items around, or at least that's the sound you hear. It sounds like this whole hotel is like you just hear sounds of things moving. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
The doors open and close really hard. They even slam so hard that the walls have shaken and the beds have rocked themselves. So like off the vibrations of the door slamming so hard. People hear lots of voices. They throughout the halls you can hear either like talking all the way to like scream match fighting.
Oh no.
And nobody's there. There's apparently the ghost of a farmer that has been seen smiling in the lobby, which at least
smiling.
Yeah. I was gonna say at least he's in the lobby and not in your room. But the smiling part bothers me. I don't know I don't know what would make that better.
You're right, but being in your room would be so much worse. That's like a serial killer or something.
Yeah. Oh, there's a man smiling at your bed.
Yeah. With a pitchfork? I don't think so.
There's a lot of phantom bangings. There was one story of like super loud banging on someone's door just as they were falling asleep. And when they went to check, nobody was in the hall. Then there was, right when he was going back to bed, there was a second banging, nobody in the hall again. And then he started hearing the sounds of doors slamming all around him.
What are they trying to do? Like just piss him off?
But just keep you awake? Yeah.
Like what? Yeah, what is the point?
Well, the guy found out the next day that he was the only guest in the hotel and all of the employees had gone home earlier that day.
Oh, that's so gross. It was, imagine, okay, thank God he didn't know that at night, though. To know that you're the only one there, I'd be like, a murderer has entered the building. Like, I'm going to die tonight. That would be my fear.
I know I've said it, but like when we covered the Greenbrier Hotel, or I think we did, I stayed there as a kid and I heard all the pots and pans and we were right next to the kitchen and nobody was working. But that's how it must feel where like you just hear everything slamming. And it's like, was I crashing your fucking party because everyone was gone and you just wanted to like make all these sounds? But then also in the same moment, I'm like, well, that was really nice that if they were going to throw a party, they respected your room and left your room alone. But I guess not if they were banging on the door.
Well, yeah, it sounds like they didn't even let you sleep though, you know?
Maybe they were knocking on the door to invite you to their party.
Yeah, maybe they were like, come on, join the fun. Maybe the party was happening in your room.
Maybe they were knocking on the door to like be like respectful neighbors and they're like, hey, we're about to get really loud, but we just wanted to warn you.
Hey, do you mind the smell of weed?
How do you feel about that?
Hey.
Do you like sticky carpet full of beer? No?
Yeah, what do you think about that? What do you think about me rolling a trunk that's really heavy down the hallway over and over again?
Also, there's been EVPs caught all over the place, but one of them was in, I think, room 10. The EVP said, "We love this bedroom," and then another voice got caught on the EVP saying, "I'm happy to hear that."
Aww.
So it's like they were only having their own conversation about their stay at the hotel.
That was. I'm happy to hear that. That must be like a bellboy or a staff member or something.
Yeah, I would imagine it was someone like getting to their room with their luggage and going, "Oh, thanks, I love the room. Happy to hear that."
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all for the Hotel Macomber, but I wanted to tell you my personal story in Cape May. So
have I heard this before?
I don't know.
I'm excited.
I don't remember a lot of this era. One, I was like really mad at my mom.
Yeah, for some unknown reason that we'll get to in the yappy hour.
Second of all, I was closeted about my gender and sexuality, so I was having a Hawaiian shirt era in this moment.
Oh yeah.
As most of us have had the.
I was gonna say also that era like was hard on everyone. I think not everyone, but a lot of us fashion wise, and so for you especially dealing with like that gender stuff, I imagine that was quite a doozy, right? Like for me, it was just I was awkward and like,
I feel like a lot of like queer AFAB people had a Hawaiian shirt phase before they came out.
Agreed. It's
And
like the baggy. There's something about it, you know.
and on top of that, when I was younger, I looked like Shia LaBeouf, and so with the Hawaiian shirt, I was just like
Actually, really
cosplaying
cool.
Even
Even
Stevens.
Stevens.
I just looked like Lewis Stevens all the time, and to this day, I can't look at a picture and not think that I was just his background actor or something.
That's so good.
Anyway, so just remember that's where we are. I'm in a Hawaiian shirt. I'm really fucking quiet because of my mom.
Picture this. Really quiet is hard for me to wrap my head around, but the rest I can picture.
I was loud as shit around everyone else, but if my mom was in the room, all of a sudden I would like clam up.
That is wild. Yeah, we got to talk about that sometime.
Maybe I thought she was like on to me being gay because of my Hawaiian shirts, and I just like didn't want to admit it. So I was just like, I just got really quiet.
Yeah, I plead the fifth.
So I don't know the name of the hotel. I'm working off of what I'm trying to like backtrack the information on the internet, and what hotel I think we were staying at is called the Inn at 22 Jackson.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why in a second. But we were staying there. I was 13. My friend that was with us, she was 15. Our moms were best friends ever since we moved to Virginia.
Can I ask
Still
her
are.
name?
Dwyn.
Okay.
I think I've talked to her about you. Talked about
the
her
mom
to you.
or that's the mom?
Oh, sorry. The mom is Dwyn and the daughter is Darian.
Okay, I didn't know the daughter's name.
Fun fact: if anyone can help me figure this out, I'm convinced that Dwyn and Sarah Jessica Parker are long lost siblings. Random, but if anyone can help me, that'd be great.
Whoa!
If you know Sarah Jessica Parker, tell her that she has a sister.
She's from Cincinnati.
Okay, if you can knock on her door.
Well, she comes back once. I mean, she certainly doesn't live here anymore, but she comes back every now and then and goes to Graders, and people take pictures of her. So nice. I could ask her the next time I'm at Graders.
They're very identical, and there's like some story that Sarah Jessica Parker and like Dwyn, they both have like something about their dad. It makes a lot of sense in my brain, and I've been convinced my whole life.
Listen, I'm convinced.
They're weirdly identical. I'll have to show you pictures from back in the day.
I'm convinced.
So Dwyn is the mom, Darian is the daughter.
I love these names.
Thank you. I didn't pick them out myself.
You're so welcome, Em.
So I'm assuming we were staying at the Inn at 22 Jackson. We're all staying in like a suite, so all of us could be together.
Cute.
But the two of us are like kind of too young to go out and do our own thing, but our moms wanted to go have their own separate dinner and like probably not hang out with teenagers on their own vacation. So they decided they were going to have dinner downstairs in the hotel, but we were not allowed to leave the hotel room. Do not leave the hotel room. And also don't fucking bother us. If we find out that you need something, we're going to be mad about it. Like just hunker down.
Were you allowed to order room service or something like that?
I don't remember. But we were just hanging out up there, and I felt like the place was haunted. It had weird vibes, but I was like, maybe I'm just in a weird new place. As I'm hanging out up there with Darian, the TV turns on by itself. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So I turn it off. I go and sit back down. The second my butt hits the bed, the TV turns on again. And I was like, what the hell? That's crazy. So I turn it off again, and Darian's in the bathroom, and I hear her going like, why are you turning the TV on and off? Like, what's going on? And I was like, I'm not doing it. It just keeps happening. And then as I sat down, I was like, watch, it's going to happen again. And when I sat down, the TV turned on again by itself. And then she went, you're fucking with me. Because she thought she couldn't see me. Of course.
Well, that's what happened with us too at that time when it happened we were in the same hotel room and you were in the bathroom except I was blaming you and you were like, I am on the toilet. And I was like, well, there's a ghost.
So then I was like, I'm not kidding. The TV is turning on and off by itself. Or I said it at the time, it's turning on by itself. Then the TV turns off as I say that. Turns on again by itself, turns off again by itself. Does this a bunch of times.
Oh my God.
Then she comes out. And we're both watching the TV turning on and off, on and off.
Oh, good. I was going to say, I'm glad she got to witness it at least.
It turns back on, and we were like, okay, is it going to turn off again? Like, and we were both looking for the remote. We didn't know where the remote was. All of a sudden, all the volume gets, like, you can see it, like the dial on the TV. Ew! The volume just gets so loud that we're like, what the hell's going on? And we were like, covering our ears. And we couldn't find the remote. I go over and manually turn the TV off, and I walk away, and the TV turns back on by itself. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? We were so freaked out by this that we were like, our mom said we can't leave, but we have to go downstairs and find them. So we found them. They were in the middle of, I'm sure, the best gossip session of their life. We had
having their first martini, and you're like, Mom!
Well, we ended up finding out because we were trying to complain about it to this, or my mom was trying to complain about it to the the
Yeah,
front
like, I'm
desk.
trying to drink my martini, and your television is scaring my children out of the room.
And they were like, "Oh, well, it sounds like you met Esmeralda."
Oh!
And we were like, "What?" And apparently Esmeralda
Excuse
used
me?
to be a nanny for the original owners of the house. And to this day, she still likes to play with the kids when they're left alone in the rooms.
Oh my
And apparently,
god.
if you like play board games, a lot of kids have said that like their pieces will go missing, or like they'll turn around and all of a sudden like the game has changed or the cards have moved around.
Aww.
And so using that, I looked up Kate May Esmeralda Nanny Ghost, and it puts me at the inn at 22 Jackson. There is lore that
Wow.
apparently this story was made up in the 70s, but I don't know. Something really freaky happened to me there.
I was gonna say, also, I always feel like even when things are quote unquote made up, it's like, well, there's clearly some sort of kernel of truth to the activity, at least, you know? So whether it's Esmeralda or not, like, clearly there's a pattern of activity that they're talking
Hmm.
about. Or if it's
And
Trunk Lady or not, like, who cares? It's just like,
yeah.
it's something
Well, so
paranormal.
the next day, my mom and I went to a gift shop, which I'm thinking is what is called today Winterwood. At one point, it used to be
Okay.
called Kelty's Newsstand. But it's a gift shop in Cape May. And my mom and I were in there, and I'm looking through stuff, and I see this woman come up to me, or come up right next to me. And you know, like those stands where it spins and there's a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff on either side of it.
Yeah.
Well, I was standing and I saw her spinning it, and then all of a sudden as she walked away, she bumped into it and all the stuff fell. Like a bunch of stuff fell off of the
Mm-hmm.
display. And my mom thought it was me 'cause she turned around and she went, "Why would you knock all that stuff over?" And I went, "It wasn't me, it was that woman who just walked away." And there was no one else in the store except us. And they went the store owner went, "Oh yeah, you saw her, she does that." And I went
No.
and I went, "What?" So, going off of that, I typed in, like, Kate May ghost gift shop knocking shit over.
Oh my god, you're like tracing your steps back. Wow.
And so there is a gift shop there called Winterwood now, and it used to be owned by two sisters who used to run a millinery there.
Oh my
And
god.
apparently they're still heard causing fucking ruckus. And
Yeah, they're like,
they
get these postcards out of here. I'm trying
they
to
are known
milliner.
people will hear them giggling in corners, yikes, and they'll push books and Christmas decorations off the shelves.
So wow, you saw an apparition.
So I saw an apparition, yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
those are my two stories from Kate May, but
What did she look like? Do you remember, or was it just so
I
fleeting?
just remember her wearing a big ass hat, which is weird
Wow.
because actually in hindsight now, a millinery, right? That's a women's hat store.
I didn't even put that together.
I just found out about millinery like last night.
Oh shit.
All right. Well, there you have it.
There you have it.
That's Hotel Macomber.
And that's amazing. And you know what? That gives me hope about our ghost stories, because I not hope about our ghost stories. That's a weird thing to say, but like it's kind of,
Validation.
yeah. Well, it's a little bit refreshing to me and exciting, because it's like I didn't know this story of yours, and I feel like we've talked about like over and over so many times like the same story of like me seeing Mr. Whaley at the top of the stairs or whatever, and it's like. And in the past you've said, I don't think I ever saw an apparition. And now it's like, oh, like this sparked a memory for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, wait, you did see an apparition, but like you wouldn't have even
Yeah.
conjured the memory unless we were covering the story. So it gives me hope that there are more like weird little memories we'll uncover, and I don't know, maybe there are more apparitions.
Maybe along the way we'll find out we've been much more haunted than we think.
Aw, and that it was the journey all and the destiny.
Speaking
Hello?
of which, I have a gift for you.
Oh, you do?
I do. It was when I was in Houston. It was called
Do
the
tell.
Texas Art Asylum,
Oh, good.
and they had aisles and aisles and aisles
Uh-huh.
of old family pictures.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, if Christine were here, she would obviously have looked through this. And I still feel so guilty about that one. I think I was in Portland or something. I still think about the picture that felt like I was supposed to give it to you, and I didn't
I don't
give
even
it to you.
remember, frankly.
Well, this time around, I walked around, I closed my eyes, and I put my hand down,
Oh,
and I
God.
went,
What did the universe give you?
I was like, Christine, I just tried to think about you, and I was like, there's something here that Christine would be drawn to and would want to take home and take care of.
Aw.
And so I have this for you when you get here. It's in the original old casing, the old file. And it's this picture. I want to be careful but it just, I don't know why it
Oh my
spoke
God,
out.
my heart is beating so fast.
I picked it up before I even looked at it, and I knew it was meant for you, and I don't know why, but then I open it up, and it's a mom and her baby.
Oh my, look how happy she is.
And I said, "Ok," I said,
Oh,
this feels like something Christine would take care of."
it's meant to be a mommy and a
So
baby.
if anyone knows who they
Oh,
are, we would love some information. But
thank
um,
you, Em. And look how
it
happy. Like a lot of times in those photos, they weren't smiling, so it's really cool.
no, they're
There's
just so happy.
even the baby's happy. Oh, that's so sweet, Em. Thank you.
And
And one of my
it
favorite paintings is of a mom and a little baby, and it looks really similar. I feel like I'm gonna hang them next to each other.
well, it used to obviously be like pinned or
Oh
in a portrait or
wow.
something. And
Or
the
maybe
only
in
name
a scrapbook or something.
maybe, yeah. And the only name on it is Harris, but I think that's the name of the photographer.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that was in
So
Houston. You bought it.
in Houston. And
Oh, thank you,
it does
Em. That's
say
so nice.
Harris photographer. It says Little Rock, Arkansas and DC.
Oh, interesting. So maybe Little Rock or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you,
Anyway,
Em.
that's for you
A
when you get
mommy and a
here.
baby.
I
What
didn't
are the
mean to
odds?
steamroll you, but you said something that made me remember. So
Oh, no, please. I don't remember what I said. I'm sure it was really, really smart and interesting.
yep. So anyway, there you have it. There's a little gift for you when you get here tomorrow.
Great. Thank you. I needed that little interlude because I'm about to cry about the story. I'm sweating so much. It's fine. Okay. If you are craving your next action-packed adventure, and who isn't, Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command, from electrifying suspense and daring quests to spine-tingling horror and romance in far-off realms. If you're, a new kind of fairy smut listener like me, or a dragon, all that kind of, there's all sorts of stuff on there you can kind of get behind. It's a good time to have Audible in your ears.
Whether it's heart-pounding suspense like the Audible original Mad Love, a fantasy romance adventure like Onyx Storm, or a listen
Mhm.
with the lights on epic, which is what I would do, like Stephen King's latest Never Flinch, Audible has you covered. Plus, discover big releases like Frida McFadden's The Tenant and
Yes.
Amelia Hart's The Sirens. Audible offers over 1 million audiobooks, podcasts, and originals all in one easy app.
I've listened to all those. Can recommend. Go for it 100%. Start listening and discover what's beyond the edge of your seat. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days and dive into a world of new thrills. Visit audible.com/drink or text drink to 500 500. So Mother's Day is tough because it feels like, well, I don't know about your mom. I doubt she says this, but my mom says, "Don't get me anything." Linda doesn't say that, does she?
I don't think she's ever strung those words together in that sentence now. I think
She doesn't know what that means. Yeah.
she's the only thing she's ever said is now please, please.
Yes, more please, more please. And so anyway, Mother's Day is coming up, and every year I'm like, oh, my mother, like, she's like, oh, don't get me anything, but I feel, you have to, right? You don't have to,
Mhm.
but it feels
You
like,
have to.
sometimes I want to, yeah, sometimes you gotta. And so I was thinking, like, oh, every time she sees me, she's like, oh my God, where did you get this band again for your Apple Watch, which I'm like showing right now. And it's beautiful stainless steel bracelet Apple Watch band, and I bought it from Quince, and I was like, I don't know if it'll fit right, whatever. I have worn it every single day since I bought it. I wear it on stage. I wear it constantly. That's what I'm getting her for Mother's Day. Don't tell her.
You name it, Quinn's probably has it, and my mother has maybe already owns all of it. I actually don't know. I didn't ask.
But the best part is all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Again, don't tell Linda and Renata about that. They don't need to know. So thanks God for Quince. Thanks for making Mother's Day just a tad bit easier.
Yeah, thank you so much. And on behalf of my mother, who's also getting Quince things, thank you in advance. Thoughtful, timeless, totally her. Shop Mother's Day at Quince. Go to quince.com/drink for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
That's quince.com/drink to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/drink. Okay. Wow, I don't even know how to begin. This
Start with the title.
is sick. Okay. I today am covering the story of and tell me if you know about it, the Las Cruces Bowling Alley Massacre.
Mhm.
And I think the fact that people don't, including myself, don't really know the story is also very, it's just really adds a layer of, darkness to it. Because, how do people not know about this? It's almost like, how is this not talked about more? And how is this not more infamous?
Was it was not within the last 10 years, right?
It was not. It was in 1990.
Okay, so then, yeah,
And
I would start because unfortunately we live in a us Americans, we live in a world where there's a massacre every fucking day. So
right, right,
I
right.
could see it getting mixed in the shuffle with that. But yeah, if it was a standalone moment in the 90s, I'm surprised we don't know more about it.
It was a huge, huge deal at the time, especially, and I think it just sort of faded away.
Hmm.
And I mean, who am I, right? I'm just like a podcaster, but I think it just hit me so hard that I really started digging into. Well, we'll get into it, but I it's just one of the cases that I really like took and ran with and like really tried to dig into.
Cool. Okay.
And it did a number on me. Um, So let's get into it. 1990. I also like. I know we give the blanket trigger warning usually of just true crime has all sorts of course horrible and dark and triggering topics. This one especially just has kind of a lot of different things, but especially to do with children again. And so just a warning if you are not in a good headspace for that. This might not be the one to listen to. So, 1990, Las Cruces, New Mexico. It's a pretty small town with about 62,000 residents. And like any good town in the 90s, it has a poppin' bowling alley. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
place to be. The manager of this bowling alley, the Las Cruces Bowling Alley, is 34-year-old Stephanie Senac. And she's the manager. Her dad actually owns the business. And we'll get to him in a minute. His name's Ron. But this place is located downtown. It's being managed by Stephanie, daughter of the owner. The bowling alley had a full kitchen and a chef. So basically, this place is like a one-stop shop. You go all day. You can play with your friends, your family. You can eat. You can play arcade games. They've got it all.
A one-stop dream shop for a parent.
Especially for a parent. And it's very 90s, right? Like very arcade, very
Mm-hmm.
classic, just kind of everything you'd want in a family-friendly situation. And get this, they even have a daycare built in so that if the
Oh,
parents come with like the older kids or parents are on a bowling league, they have a literal like daycare area where
so smart.
these yeah, where these employees take care of the kids. It's really cool. And so more than 100 members of a local bowling league gathered there every Monday. This is like the hot spot in town, especially for bowlers. And business
Jeez.
was really, really good. The guy who owned it, I mentioned him briefly. His name is Ron Senac, and his daughter is the manager. Her name's Stephanie. And he had recently sold his home on a golf course and for some reason moved into the bowling alley. I don't really understand why. The business was going well. I don't know if he went in there for financial reasons, if he moved in there to be like close, if he was just in between like houses. I don't really know why he moved in, but what we do know is he had recently moved into the bowling alley and technically lived on the property.
It's like a caregiver,
Yeah, sort of like a caretaker,
caretaker.
but also like not really because he just owned it, but he didn't actually work there. Like he just lived there.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
and on top of it being his literal home, like he lives there at this point, the bowling alley was his family's business. So maybe that's why, right? Like he wanted to be, in the action. His daughter, like I said, Stephanie, whom I mentioned earlier, she's the manager, and two more of his adult children also worked at the bowling alley. So, early February of 1990, Ron is out of town. He's golfing with a friend. And if there's one thing you need to know about Ron, besides that he lives in a bowling alley, is that he loves to golf, okay?
Okay.
This old man loves to golf. Now, according to Ron, he rarely traveled, and any traveling he did do was to go golfing. And that is where he was. He was on a golf trip. Meanwhile, back home in Las Cruces, February 10th, his daughter Stephanie gets to the bowling alley early to start her shift as manager, and they're getting ready for the day. It's a Saturday morning, so things are going to be popping, right, on a Saturday in the 90s at the bowling
Mm-hmm.
alley. Another employee is there too. This is 33-year-old Ida Holgan. She is the cook at the bowling alley, and she's there prepping the kitchen for all the things they're going to be serving that day. She used to work nights, but she had actually changed shifts like very recently because she wanted time to spend with her mom playing bingo in the evenings. And so
Precious.
she changed her shifts from evenings to mornings. Now, back to manager Stephanie. She had actually brought with her to work her 12-year-old daughter, Melissa Repass. And Melissa, she didn't always go to work with her mom, but sometimes, especially on a weekend, she would go to work with her mom because she worked with her best friend, 13-year-old Amy Hauser, in the daycare.
Okay.
So it's kind of cute. So the mom's the manager, then her daughter and her daughter's best friend like watch the little kids
Mhm.
in the adjoining like daycare room. Now, as I go, I have like some visuals here. I didn't know the best way to do this, so I just have them on my iPad, but I just want to give you like just a to give you an idea. This is Melissa. She's
Okay.
12. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
This
Very 90s.
is very 90s. This is her best friend Amy,
Nice.
13, and they arrive with Melissa's mom to work in the children's what do you call it? In the
Daycare.
daycare. hmm So Melissa was meeting Amy there, and meanwhile Amy's stepdad dropped her off, and on the way her stepdad asked her all about what was going on with her life because he'd been out of town for a while. So he was dropping her off. He took that time to ask her about her day, ask her about her friends, her schoolwork, her life. She and her stepdad were really close. He dropped her off, and he remembers very vividly saying, "I love you," and her turning around and saying, "I love you too." Now
Okay.
we've got 12 and 13-year-olds, Melissa and Amy, Melissa's mom, Stephanie, and the cook, Ida. That's who's there right now.
Mhm.
The next to arrive is 26-year-old Stephen Tehran, and he worked as the bowling alley's pin mechanic, and so he arrived at work at 8 a.m. His wife, Audrey, had a class that Saturday morning, and she didn't have time to find a babysitter, so he thought he would just bring his daughters to work. They're 6 and 2. And he thinks, oh,
Mm.
well, I'll bring him to work because, Melissa and Amy will be there doing the daycare, and that's great. So here's a picture of the Tehran family. So that's Stephen in the back,
Mhm.
and then his wife and 2 daughters. And his 2 daughters are 6-year-old Paula and 2.5-year-old Valerie. So the plan is just the girls would spend the day in the daycare. I mean, it's a Saturday at a bowling alley. How fun would that be? You get paid as a 13-year-old to babysit at the bowling alley with your friend. Like,
Well, it's
it's perfect.
also a dream when you're 13 and you work where you're gonna play because as soon as you're off your
Yes.
shift, you just get to like go to the arcade or eat a pizza or go
No,
bowling.
Em, and they
Like,
even talked about like that their mom gave them like some dollars to go to the vending machines and pick what snacks they want. Like that fun stuff from being a kid that was like what makes your summer break or your Saturday so fun, just those little
mhm.
things. And so they're looking forward to a fun day. They all arrive. Stephen arrives with the 2 girls, planning to put them in the daycare, in the childcare center. So early that morning, Stephanie's brother Steve Cenac stops by, and he's the other son of Ron, the golfer, and the owner
Okay.
of the establishment.
Okay.
He also had a class on Saturday, so he wasn't actually going to work, but he had left his backpack at the bowling alley the night earlier. So he arrived to pick up his backpack on the way to class. And when he arrives, he notices there are 2 men standing outside near the building. And it
Oh
strikes him as
God.
odd because it's so early on a weekend day. And he's like, what are these 2 grown men doing here? But they're kind of out of eyesight, out of eye line. He gets a look at them, but he doesn't really pay it too much mind. But when he went inside, he realized that the door was unlocked. And he told his sister, Stephanie, who was managing that day, hey, lock the door. I didn't bring my keys. So can you please lock up? Like, I don't feel comfortable having all of you here with the girls and everybody without the door being locked. Anybody could just walk in. So on his way out, he reminded Stephanie, lock the door. She's like, yeah, I'm busy, and he goes on. At around 8 a.m., Melissa and Amy, these are the babysitters basically, told Stephanie, Melissa's mom, that they're hungry for breakfast. And Ida is still prepping the kitchen, so Stephanie gave the kids a bunch of quarters to go find snacks from the vending machine.
Mhm.
The girls walked to the lobby, got their snacks. They're just like giggling and having fun. On their way back to the office, they encounter 2 strange men. The men were both armed, and one of them directed Amy and Melissa back to the office at gunpoint.
Oh my God.
The second man found Ida in the kitchen. He snuck up on her from around a corner, put a gun to her side, and said, "This is a holdup. Come with me." He forced Ida to the office and told her to get on the floor with Stephanie, Amy, and Melissa. So all 4 of them are now helplessly in a corner as the captors are searching the office for money. And now they're all cooperating. They're saying, hey, here's the money. There's a safe there. Take what you need. And all that mattered in that moment to them was to stay calm because,
Mhm.
their kids are there. They're trying to just cooperate and like be as like just
Mhm.
not provoke these people whatsoever. But the men kept searching for something of value. It was like they couldn't find what they were looking for. And these women are like, I don't know, like look in the safe, look in the drawers, you can have whatever you want. But they seem dissatisfied with what they're finding, which is, by the way, thousands of dollars in cash and checks.
Yeah, so what are you looking for if, like,
What are you
that's not
looking for?
enough?
Exactly. And then Stephen Turan walked in. Stephen Turan, he's the dad that I mentioned earlier
The
with the two
pin
little girls.
mechanic.
The pin mechanic, exactly. And he walks in. He is 26 years old. He's served in the National Guard. He recently earned a degree in criminal justice and was planning to become a police officer. So normally this is like the person that would handle the
His moment,
situation.
yeah.
Yeah. But he has two little girls with
Mhm.
him, right? And he's a very serious man. He's a kind person, but he's a very serious man. And his friends and family described him as like very stern, like pretty militaristic in like the way of like manners and, like sit up straight, that kind of thing. Um, he walks in, he sees what's unfolding, these two men, and he has his 6-year old, his 2.5-year-old daughters. And of course, there's no way to challenge these men without putting his daughters in harm's way, in
Ugh.
addition to all the other people in the room. So when they tell him to get on the floor, he does, and he tells his daughters to do so as well. Then suddenly, apparently unprovoked and with absolutely zero warning, the men start shooting. And the entire incident unfolds in a matter of minutes. And I know I mentioned that Stephanie arrived around 8 a.m. Right before 8:30 a.m., it's not even 8:30 a.m. yet, a 911 dispatcher answers a call from Las Cruces Bowl. And there's a young girl on the other end of the line, and she says her name's Melissa. And she said, we were all shot in a holdup. All of us were hurt. And she sounded like she was in pain. I mean, you can listen to, and there's a documentary that I'll mention later that was made in 2010. I think that's what really effed me up. Like it's
The dispatch call?
not necessarily this, well, that too, but the whole documentary,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's so, they use the 911 call, but they also have so many crime scene photos. They go into very specific, gruesome detail, and it's really hard to
Mhm.
watch and listen to. But so they play the whole call almost. It's like excruciating, really, because she's just says hurry up, right? And they're like, how old are you? She says, I'm 12.
Mm.
And she's very calm, and she's describing what's happening. And the dispatcher is a little bit like, well, okay, honey, what's going on? She says, I'm the only person awake.
Mm.
And he's trying to understand. He says, what's going on? How many people are hurt? And you just hear her go, 1, 2,
Oh my god.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he says, 7? And she goes, yeah. And I was shot too. And he says, you were shot too. And she says, 5 times.
Oh my god.
And this man is like, totally like, okay. Like, they're on the way. Please just like stay, you're okay. We're going to, doing the usual, like,
Yeah.
breathe, trying to get her through it. And you can just tell he's like, I mean, you can't hear it because he's a professional, but like, you can just
No one's
imagine.
not rattled
No,
by
right,
that, yeah.
exactly. And I mean, later on in the documentary, he comes on, and he and Melissa reunite in the documentary after like decades, and he just can't stop crying. And it's like, he's like, to hear a 12-year-old on the line saying,
Yeah.
help me, somebody shot me 5 times, and my mom, and it's
And
just so, and my best friend.
not to, obviously bring up the state of the nation these days, but I feel like if you're a dispatch person, you're almost like it's
The gun violence is
it's
just like,
more it's more expected now. I mean, back in the 90s, it was like just Columbine, like
right.
so I feel like it was even more, I don't want to say more jarring.
Maybe shocking.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
saying? Like
maybe
it was
shocking. It
less anticipated than what you might expect as a dispatch
Yeah.
caller today. I don't know.
No, I can definitely see that. Especially in a small town, right? Where you're just
Mhm.
like, apparently there had not been, I think the previous year there had been maybe 1 death or something like that in the whole
Wow.
town,
Oh
like
my
in the whole
god.
year. And then this happened in February. So it was like, something that they couldn't have even remotely prepared for.
Wow.
So, I mean, Emma just gets worse. So they're on the call and he's saying, hold on, they're coming, keep talking, keep breathing, they're coming. And she goes, you need to send the fire department too. And he goes, what? And she goes, oh, they set the building on fire. And he goes,
To get rid of the evidence.
oh, yeah. And he goes, oh my God, well, do you smell smoke? And she's like, yeah, we're about to be burned. And he's like, there's a fire there right now. And she goes, yes, I see the fire. It's right next to me and I can't move. There's a fire. And so now it's just like these people shot up everybody in the building and then set fire to the place. And so, of course, police officers, paramedics arrive. The dispatcher asked if she could smell smoke. She said, yes, it's right here. It's going to burn me and it's going to burn everyone in the room if you don't get here. Now, she didn't even know if the attackers are still in the building. And when police arrived just minutes later, when they're calling her to come out, she's just too scared to even move. She's like, I don't know who they are.
Well,
I mean, she's in shock.
I was going to say, I can't imagine the adrenaline that is just keeping her surviving in that moment. And then I imagine once you hang up the phone, it's like, I've done everything I can. Now I'm probably feeling all the pain. And now I'm realizing
that's it.
It's like, now I'm seeing all the people. Like, it's not just counting objects, it's realizing I'm surrounded by 7 people not waking up. People are probably already catching on fire if the fire's that close to me.
It's like that, like, adrenaline rush of like taking action, and then when you're done taking action, like the come down of like now looking around exactly and like actually absorbing what happened.
Petrifying. And she could barely get off the phone, and when they play it, it's just so sad because you can hear the dispatcher say, she goes like, you told me to stay on the phone, and he's like, I know, honey, but like, you have to go to the police. They're here. It's okay to hang up. You can hang up now. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yes. Like, she doesn't know what to do. Now, get this. She had learned about 911 the previous week at school. Like, she had never heard of 911. The week before at school, they had done a session on 911. And she said, like, to this day, she's like, it must have just been somewhere in my head because she just like
picked up the phone and dialed.
Newly in your brain, yeah.
Newly minted information. She said, if I didn't know about that, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know if anybody would have gotten out.
We do know what would have happened.
Well, we probably know exactly what would have happened, right? 'Cause she was the only conscious one if she hadn't known what to do. And it's just so scary. So she was too terrified to even hang up the phone and go to the police. But finally, the dispatcher convinced her that she was safe and that she needed to hang up and escape the fire. So she followed the instructions. And she described how to get to the office so the police could find her back there. And when they found her, 12-year-old Melissa, she's still on the phone. She's been shot multiple times. She's surrounded by fire. There are 6 unconscious victims laying around her. And like I said, she had just learned about 911, so she's just in total shock. She doesn't even know like how she managed to get to this point. Mm-hmm. With the dispatcher's insistence that she needs to get away from the flames, she hangs up the phone and she runs out of the room. And even despite the bullet wounds, she flees to the parking lot with an officer where she sat in a police vehicle until paramedics arrived. They rushed her to the hospital. And when first responders went inside the building, they found the other 6 victims. They brought them out of the office before triaging them to get them away from the fire. Ida woke up briefly when a first responder asked for her name. She gave her name, and apparently when she heard her own voice, she felt shocked she was alive. Like, she heard herself speak and was like, I can't believe I'm alive, and then fell back into and lost consciousness again.
Sure.
She was wheeled to an ambulance. Meanwhile, this is where I just like... So Stephen, who had brought his 2 daughters in, his wife, Audrey, she had been in class that morning, and she had been growing increasingly nervous at school nearby. She and her classmates had heard sirens flying past their school that morning.
And it's such a small town where 1 person dies a year. Like, what's all the sirens?
It's like, what could have... There's an emergency, right? You think, like, what are the odds? But also, yeah, it's a small town. Like, I don't feel right. And when she called the bowling alley during a break between her classes, nobody answered. So she's getting just more and more nervous. When she goes to lunch, she catches the end of a news report that 7 people were shot, but she doesn't hear about the bowling alley. And so she just is like getting uneasy. She doesn't know what this
Well, because
shooting is about.
like best case scenario, it's still probably someone you know or someone you know knows.
Yeah,
You
or at
know?
least someone in town, which is like still scary. Like a
Yeah.
spree shooting is scary, whether you know,
Hmm.
especially when it's nearby. And so she's really on edge. So she doesn't hear any more details. She goes back to school. She calls the bowling alley again, no answer. And she and her friend just made up their minds to leave class and drive to the bowling alley. And another classmate says, "Hey, I just heard there was a robbery at the bowling alley." And Audrey knows her husband and 2 daughters are there. Let me just get this for
Yeah, get the just to
so
really
just
break
just
everyone's
just
heart.
to really show yeah, just to show what's going on. So Audrey, she knows that Stephen and her 2 daughters are at the bowling alley. And so she panics. She goes there with a friend. She rushes to the scene. Police stop her in the parking lot and she tells them, "Hey, my husband and daughters are inside." And so they sit her down and they say, "We have something to tell you. Your husband has been shot." And she, of course, breaks down, but she says, "Can I just have my girls, please?" And, she's waiting for them to bring the girls. They say, "Hang on." The officers come back and they say, "We have something really horrible to tell you. 6-year-old Paula has been pronounced dead at the scene as well." And just because it's worth sharing, this is a photo of Paula at age 6. And her mother was told Paula has been killed. So when
Where's
Audrey
her
asks
the other baby? Where's the other one?
their 2-year-old Valerie, they say, "You have to get to the hospital. She's in critical condition." So
Oh my God.
she is about to be rushed to the hospital, of course, praying the whole way there. Meanwhile, Amy, 13-year-old Amy, her mother, Gloria Woods, is also rushing to the hospital. She worked as a baker at a food warehouse, and another employee passed along a phone message just saying something bad happened at the bowling alley. And all she knows is that her daughter's there babysitting today. So she doesn't really know much more
God.
than that, but that's got to be like such a gut punch feeling. And so she tries to return the call. No one's picking up at the bowling alley. So she and her friend drive there, and she tells the police, "My daughter's inside." And the officers, it's a small town, they know her, and they say, "Gloria, you have to go to the hospital." So they're
Wow.
on the way to the hospital, both Gloria and Audrey, and separately, and they rush to their respective daughters' sides. At the hospital, Gloria arrived at the room of 13-year-old Amy, her daughter, and she was told that her daughter had died. When Audrey arrived, she saw a priest in the hospital room, and she knew immediately something was very wrong. And a social worker was there as well, and they told her 2.5-year-old Valerie was also dead. So Audrey wanted to know. I also have just like another little picture of Valerie at that age, 2.5, just to give you an idea of like what kind of person would, shoot a toddler in the head. So she gets to the hospital. There's a social worker and a priest, and they say like your whole family has just been killed. Good morning. You went to class, and now your husband and both your daughters are dead. So Audrey asked whether Valerie died on the table or if someone had held her in her final moments, and they told her that after a medical team spent 45 minutes trying to save Valerie, a nurse hugged her to her chest, and Valerie, she was conscious also through a lot of it and was just scared and didn't know what was going on. And they said she was just calling for her mom the whole time. It's just horrible. I'm sorry. But they said that they spent 45 minutes trying to save her, and then a nurse just picked her up and held her for a while. And she just like clung onto the nurse's neck until she passed away. And so this woman had just like lost her entire family in one morning. Like in just one morning, her whole family's gone. And so Anthony Tehran, which Stephen's younger brother, this would be Audrey's brother-in-law. So her husband Stephen had a 19-year-old brother who was in college, and he was just like having a lazy Saturday morning, 19 years old. He hears something on the radio about like a shooting, but he doesn't hear the bowling alley part, so it doesn't really like strike him. But so he gets a call a few minutes later from the hospital, and he didn't even put it together that it had something to do with this shooting he'd kind of overheard on the radio. He arrives and he sees Audrey crying beside a priest, and he thought
Mm.
like maybe my brother's sick, like what, or maybe my brother's been in a car accident and he's on and he needs
Mhm.
surgery, right? And he arrives and his sister-in-law tells him your brother and both nieces are dead. Someone murdered them. And he became so overwhelmed with rage that he punched a hole in the hospital's wall. And Audrey's first instinct was to go and take his hand and try to make sure it wasn't hurt. And he said it so shook him out of that like that angry days almost,
Mhm.
that she, having just lost her whole family, was like trying to bandage up his hand,
Yeah.
that he was like, no, I need to rein it in and like be there for her, like
Mhm.
get myself in check, and be there for her. And he said later in an interview, my mind changed instantly and I realized I needed to be there for Audrey and support her. And he kind of just like reined it in and got it himself together. Meanwhile, this news is spreading. The victims are learning about this. There are some survivors: Melissa, who made the phone call, Stephanie, Melissa's mother, and Ida, the cook. They're the only survivors. Authorities scoured Las Cruces for any signs of the murderers. It's just so out of left field that this would happen and that a bunch of children would be killed. It's just so jarring, especially for a town where, one murder occurred last year. It's like it's
Mhm.
just completely out of the
Especially it's
ordinary.
such a I mean, the extra twisted part too is it's not like it was like a random facility. It was like a family-based institution where
Yes.
like everyone is hired through family and friends, and it's you
Yeah.
know, given the state of the world, it is one of the last standing third places where people could all
Yes.
go and socialize, and I mean, so it was a very
It
communal
feels
area.
it's supposed to be safe, right? It's like for
Mhm.
families, it's children are being babysat. It's games and fun. Yeah, that's such a good point. It should be like a fun, safe, happy place. And so, as all this is going on and police are trying to get as much information as they can, Steve, the one who stopped by for his backpack, he told police about those two guys he had noticed in the parking lot. And he said, I saw these two guys. It was a little weird, but I didn't know what to do. Like, they were just standing there. I didn't,
Mhm.
I'm sure he probably kicked himself later, but like, what's he going to do? They're just standing around. And when he describes these two men, police realize the description's pretty similar to what Melissa described. So they're thinking, yeah, these are definitely the same guys.
Sure.
So the dispatcher asked Melissa whether they were white or black. Melissa said black. But then once she was safe and had time to give better details, they kind of like got more into the nitty gritty, and combined with Steve's descriptions, they were able to actually create like a much more specific report. And the police determined they were looking for two men whom they described as Hispanic, who were not black but had dark complexions. It was believed that one of the murderers was a young man following the lead of an older man. So it's sort of like that Criminal Minds trope of one man is like kind of in charge and
Mhm.
and
The other one's the follower.
yeah, like persuading the other one into doing stuff. They might have been in their 20s and 40s, respectively, was the guess. I also have pictures, just so you know, of the mug shots, and I'm gonna get to those at the end because there's something I want to add to that as well.
Okay.
But we'll get to those as well. And for all these pictures, we'll put them on social media because it's worth looking at just to kind of get an idea. So police set up roadblocks at every route out of the city, and they even brought Steve to one of the roadblocks to see if he could recognize anyone, coming through. There were some people coming through who had $12,000 in cash on them, so they brought Steven in to see if like these were the right people, but they weren't a match. And yeah, he took a look at them and said none of them match the description of the people I saw this morning. And honestly, the descriptions of these two men like matched a lot of people in New Mexico. It wasn't that unusual for someone to have dark complexion and be
Sure.
in his 40s.
Yeah. He
So
looked
it
like
was
a human being. Oh, okay.
exactly. And so it was hard to even narrow it down. And so they wanted to make the most specific composite image that they possibly could. And that's why at the end I really want to get into that because I think this is where technology is really changing the game. Um, Authorities first created computer composites, but then when someone hand sketched the drawings, Steve felt they were much more accurate. He actually said they were dead on when he looked at them.
Oh
He said
wow. Okay.
those are the two people. The likenesses were so close. He said it like gave him chills to look at the images. So they get helicopters. They're canvassing downtown. They're searching for any witnesses. They follow leads across the country as far as Florida, but everything is a dead end. Days, weeks, months pass. No new suspects. Tips continue to come in. They go nowhere. Investigators review the case again and again. They're just thinking, this can't be a robbery gone wrong. Like, what the hell?
Especially when
It
they
just
were like
doesn't make sense.
they were mad about not being able to find something
Something, right?
because they were like the thousands of dollars wasn't enough. It's like I feel like they were told by someone, "Oh, they've got this item here. Like the rumor is in the back room they've got this one thing." Like they were clearly looking for something specific.
Now, do you know why I maybe mentioned that Ron lived on the property?
Okay.
I don't want to. This is all very alleged because, not alleged even. It's just a theory because
Sure.
people wonder, and we're going to get into it, but people wonder about whether something shady was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of why I say I don't know why he was. Quite frankly, I don't know why he was living on the property. If
It could have
business
been
was
a
going
normal
so
reason.
well, it could have been a perfectly normal reason. But it's like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just worth noting because
Because he
something's
could have had
fishy.
something personal hanging out.
Who
in
knows?
there.
Yeah, or he could have been mixed up in something and
Yeah.
like gotten people involved. You never know. And so we'll get to that, but essentially they're thinking this can't be a robbery gone wrong. These men shot 7 people execution style. Like 7
who were
people
all
that
willing to just lie there and not
Yes!
cause harm. Yeah.
who were all cooperating, and we have 3 people who survived and said we all just sat there and said do whatever you need to do, take whatever you want, and they just shot all of them. I mean, multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's just abhorrent. And it's like, of course it's all abhorrent, but then to hear that a 2.5-year-old was shot in the forehead. She was shot in the forehead. And her mom still talks about, like, her mom is interviewed in this documentary, and her mom talks about like that image of her where she kind of has those big eyes, and she's like, I know she was looking up at this person and they put a gun between her eyes and shot her, and she was alive for however 45 more minutes looking for me, And she said, and they asked, what do you think happened in those last 45 minutes of Valerie's life? And she said, I think she was really confused, and I think she couldn't decide. She was like, I don't think she couldn't decide if she wanted to go with her dad and her sister or if she wanted to stay and help me like on Earth. But she said she's like, I just know that she couldn't decide between like staying and helping me like get through this or going with her dad and sister. And she said that when later the doctors told Audrey that Valerie would have been a quadriplegic, and she said she thinks her daughter just said like it was too much for it would have been too much for my mom, and so it was better for me to go. But like just hearing her talk about like the 45 minutes where she couldn't decide whether or not to stay, and it's like she's 2.
Yeah.
It's just like kills me. It's just like people are evil. So if people in the community are just like horrified, because it's one thing to obviously like shoot anybody, but to shoot a 2-year-old in the head like for no reason is just insane.
Yeah.
And then like a 6-year-old, 12-year-old, 13, I mean 4 children. Like, what are you doing? And so it's just horrible. Anyway, it seemed unlikely that these 2 burglars would just shoot a toddler for like a couple $1,000, it just didn't add up. And so, investigators had to start thinking like maybe this was premeditated or maybe this was personal. And the facts were that the men didn't wear masks, which was also unusual for like if you're just going in to rob a place, right? You don't want anyone to see you. And so not wearing a mask almost implies like you wouldn't leave witnesses,
100%.
And so it seemed also that they knew the bowling alley. They knew where the office was. So it's like they had either cased the joint before or they had been there before,
Yeah.
They also,
which like wouldn't be hard because if everyone's going in and out there all the time, you wouldn't even notice if.
Very true. On a busy day, 100 people at a bowling league, you just pop in, do
In
a
the
little
90s,
tour.
going on a Friday night and like And
Yeah,
it
there's
seems like
no
everyone in town knew someone
CCTV.
on a bowling league, you know?
Exactly. And so it's not like exactly, it's not a hard thing to suss out, especially if you know maybe that they don't lock the door, if you keep an eye on it for a couple days, realize they don't lock the door. So weirdly enough, they also left several thousand dollars just laying there. So it's like, what is the point of this? Like, did it get out of
They were
hand? Like, did one of
they
them
were
go rogue?
they were definitely looking for like drugs or something else. Like
It feels like something more,
which I
right?
don't think maybe it was the guy who lived upstairs, but also like I'm imagining like every 90s 80s show I feel like there was a guy working at the bowling alley who was
I
also like
mean,
the local drug dealer. So like it could have
okay,
been
please hear the next bullet point. I'm not even shitting with you right
okay.
now. Okay.
Okay.
Journalists asked investigators if the attack was drug related. They asked if the murderers had escaped south into Mexico. They asked if someone in the victims' families knew the murders. A police captain said to one reporter, "Everything's possible," because they had like no clue. And the truth was that, well, we'll get to the drug thing in a moment because I do sort of have like a little bit of info for you on the guy at the bowling alley who may or may not be doing some illicit activities.
Okay.
But other than that, they had very little to go on. They had rumor, and they had like a couple witnesses who were obviously deeply traumatized, and the fire itself had also badly damaged the scene. They had to put the fire out. It got rid of a lot of evidence, and DNA in forensic investigations was very new technology in 1990, so that was not necessarily a priority. Investigators said they were analyzing evidence collected at the scene, but they were also relying, they needed someone from the public to come forward with something bigger to push the case forward, and they were just hoping somebody would. And of course, with no answers, then that's when the rumors about like what could have happened, who could have been
Right.
involved, start growing. And here are some examples. Everyone's pointing fingers. Everyone's saying like, my theory is this, or that guy was always shady, or what have you, which is why I'm like a little hesitant to kind of be too blasé about Ron and all that. But
Right.
it's worth mentioning that Steven's brother, Anthony, the one who was just infuriated by this whole thing and, punched the hole in the wall, then tried to protect his sister-in-law. He was really, really strong in his conviction that the bowling alley owner, Ron Cenac, knew the murderers. That was what he believed.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Ron's son, remember how Ron's kids all worked at the bowling alley?
Mm-hmm.
Ron's son, RJ, who's Stephanie's younger brother and Steve's younger brother, worked at the bowling alley bar, and people claim that he used to purchase cocaine at work from sellers he met at the bowling alley. So that really just goes exactly to your point of the 90s and the bowling alley and
It was always
doing
either
some dealings.
like the bowling alley or the roller rink or something.
The roller rink, right?
Like there was always someone who knew someone who was
who's just kind of like around,
a little more insidious
like,
than the roller rink. Yeah.
Totally. And yeah, weird, very 90s vibe to have like a kind of sinister underlying to all of the fun.
But also, if it is
games.
like a communal hub third place, like everyone, including the people who are selling weed or whatever, are probably going to be there. So,
right, it's like if this is a small town and hundreds of people are going here, and teenagers and whatever, yeah. So I will add, this is also just rumors, and this is discussed in interviews, but there's no real evidence that the son of the owner was buying cocaine. It's just what people claimed. Yeah. Well, it's actually it's a rumor. It's what people said happened, but we don't have any real proof of this because of course he denies it, right? Rumors spread that the murderers were actually there to steal drugs, like you had mentioned, which were supposedly hidden somewhere in the bowling alley. And my thought is too, like, of course it sounds insane to shoot a bunch of kids, but it's like if you're fucking high out of your mind on meth or something and you can't even think straight and you're like looking, who knows what you accidentally trigger yourself and go off. Like, it's not a mind of a rational person as far as I'm concerned, or somebody who's, I mean, even whatever. Okay, we'll get into it. So rumors spread that perhaps Ron, the owner, is in some sort of illegal business. He always kind of had some people like side-eyeing him. Of course, he claims, nope, this is just a family-run business, family-friendly, the end. And some people believe the attack was orchestrated to seek revenge against him for some slight or to send a message and scare him, but like nobody could prove any of that. And I mean, for what it's worth, amidst these rumors, Steve said, this is the brother, Steve said it was painful for his family to be continually accused of being somehow responsible when, like, his own sister and niece were almost killed, which is a fair point, right? Like, they were traumatized by this as well and deeply affected.
Mm-hmm.
He struggled to make sense of the shocking violence. Like, he even said, why on earth would you walk into a bowling alley without a mask on to rob them and then shoot everybody? Like, even he said it makes no sense and it has nothing to do with our family. So it's a lot of like rumors and speculation because there just weren't any other clues.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say there's some stuff that Ron did that I felt was a little weird. Do you remember the day of the week that this attack occurred?
No.
It was a Saturday because it was like a big busy day for the bowling alley. It was a Saturday morning. Well, this is, of course, national headline news. Like, this is huge. And Monday morning, he reopens the bowling alley for business.
Whoa.
And
okay.
He goes, well, I didn't want to disappoint the bowling league. It's really important to them. They really wanted to bowl.
I would argue they're already disappointed. Like,
yeah.
They're already feeling things, and disappointment is not maybe even on the list.
Basically, the community
like,
was
who
like,
wants to
what
go
the
there?
Fuck? I mean, he goes, well, you have to understand, like, these people, they want to bowl. And I went, okay, hello? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Like, it's their therapy after children were just shot in the head there?
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
it's
not like I'm blaming you for doing anything. I just think that's a fucking asshole thing to do. Like,
it's
just
it's just not
staff?
a reading the room at all.
No.
Like, it's
and it's also like
complete
fucking,
lack
like,
of consideration, but compassion is like
compassion.
empathy.
Yes. It's like how horrible to be like the family member and find out 2 days later, like, open for business.
Like, do you really think people are in the mood to bowl right now?
Yeah, well, apparently they were. They just fucking opened up and everybody came back on in. And it's like, hello?
That's so weird. So the whole town, I kind of am
weird.
side-eyeing. I'm like, why? I wouldn't want to be on the premises where, like, children just died.
I wish I could. Yeah. Wow, what a shocking statement, Em.
Call me crazy.
Like, right? I wonder. I don't know. I can't explain it. He was like, oh, well, it was they had a important tournament. Okay.
Like, you couldn't, like, push the tournament. You couldn't just move it.
Hello?
I'm pretty sure everyone would understand.
And I don't think that makes him guilty. I just think it makes him an asshole. So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I don't think he's guilty either. I think he's just like, we're not being sensitive to this.
No, he's not being sensitive at all. And honestly, it struck me at, like, your own daughter was shot and your granddaughter was shot and almost killed. Your granddaughter was shot and almost killed yesterday. What are you doing? It's just so weird to me. It's so weird to me, and I just had to say it. Anyway, everyone
maybe
who was
he
hurt
was in
that
denial.
day.
Sorry.
No, I mean, it could be, and you're right. It could be something. Maybe he's on the spectrum or something, and he doesn't even realize how off-putting this is. Like, maybe, there's so many things that could be true. And
I could see him.
It also looks like an assholey move to me.
Yeah, no, it
like,
looks bad for sure.
It's like his lawyer really should have said, "Don't fucking do that."
Someone should have gone to him and been like,
someone should have said, "Don't do that."
Yeah,
and that along with, like, he's living there and he sold his house. I'm like, what is going on? If business is so good, why is he having to sell his house and move into the bowling alley? Like, I don't know. Something just strikes me as so weird.
Something's happening in his personal life outside of this.
Yeah, whether it's related or not, something feels weird with this guy. I don't know. So, yeah, everyone who was involved that day, and even people who weren't involved but were just in the community, were trying to figure out pointing fingers, trying to figure out what had happened, but there was no solid lead whatsoever. So fast forward, the 1-year anniversary of the attack, they hold a memorial mass at the local Catholic church. The community prays for answers. Another year passes. Local media does another big shout out about it, hoping for some traction. Nothing. Ida, who was the cook, her recovery was really an uphill battle, as I can only imagine.
Sure, yeah. Would you even want to work there again?
Oh no, she never stepped foot on the property again. No.
Yeah, how could you? Okay.
Yeah, how could you? And she, after 6 months in the hospital, she did years of rehabilitation. She had brain injuries. I mean, these people were shot multiple times and in the head.
Yeah.
Um, According to her husband Raymond, she'd walk up to a water fountain, but she forgot how to turn it on. Like she had to work on
Mm.
so many just basic things to try and get back to some sort of normalcy. Um, in 1999, 9 years after the attack, Melissa's mom, Stephanie, died of complications from her injuries. And Melissa talks about her mom. It's very touching and hard to watch Melissa talk on the documentary because she's the one who called 911. She was 12 to this day. In the documentary, which was made in 2010, she was in her 30s.
Mm.
And she talks about just how she still had, she's like, maybe someday I'll process this. You know, she just is
And if
so
you don't, that's fine. I mean,
exactly.
come
Like
on.
I
Like,
hope I hope for healing, right? But it's like no, there's no timeline on that, you know. I can't even imagine. And the way she talked about her mom, she said her mom was always just this bright, fun, spunky person, and then after this happened, her mom completely changed. Was just very down
yeah. Well,
always. Like
yeah, I mean, can't blame her.
no, no. And she said her
Her
mom
life's
was
rocked.
never the same. She was always hyper vigilant. She had severe PTSD. And so Melissa said, you know, she also lost the mom she knew. She, of course, lost
Yeah.
her own innocence. She lost her best friend. She watched two babies get killed in front of her. Uh, just all really, really horrific stuff. And so Melissa's mother died in 1999, which was 9 years after the attack. But you know, Melissa kind of said her mom was really never the same after the attack at all. More years passed, and then the media kind of moved on, right? Like things happen, bigger things happen, more mass shootings happen. The news cycle continues, and in 2010, finally, a filmmaker named Charlie Min released a documentary called "A Nightmare in Las Cruces." I It took me several days to watch. I'm not usually that shaken by the true crime shows or genres or whatever, but this one was especially tough because of course it's children. Um a lot of crime scene footage, a lot of detail about the actual deaths, and it's not necessarily my I had to skip certain segments where I thought I just it's too much. So just a warning if you're but it's on most you can rent it on most YouTube and all that. So the media largely moved on. This documentary comes out in 2010, and it's this big thing. You know, they're hoping like this will renew interest in the case, perhaps encourage someone to come forward. Nothing happens. These people go through this big documentary. It's a big production. I mean, this woman Audrey has to rehash the death of her entire family again. She holds up a little bathing suit that she says her sister got for her daughter. And she said her daughter was obsessed with this little like polka dot bathing suit. And she's like, she wore it every day. She was obsessed with it. And she said, I like to show it to show you how small her body was. Like, this is what somebody did. This is who somebody killed. And she holds it up and it's like, I mean, it's like 12 inches tall, this teeny little thing. And she's like, this is how big she was. And they just looked right in her eyes and killed her. Um, and it's just horrific. I mean, it's a really tough watch. So I just heads up. Um, so this guy Charlie Min, he had never stopped thinking about the Las Cruces incident since he first heard about it in the news, and he really wanted to hopefully encourage people to come forward, but nobody came forward. And each year, Las Cruces authorities make statements trying to get people to think of anything they can, um, and yet nothing has happened. And on the 30th anniversary, which was February 2020, friends and family gathered for a candlelight vigil in the parking lot of the now closed bowling alley. Ida, the cook, did not attend because, like I said, she never went back to the bowling alley. It was too hard for her, but her husband went in her place to honor the victims who didn't survive that day. And when journalists asked him about Ida, he said she had found happiness in her first grandchild, discovering what she felt was a purpose for her survival and recovery. And it's like, you know, meanwhile, Audrey has lost everybody. It's just like, how do
Hmm.
you find purpose? I don't know. Audrey and the Trans reminisced on Stephen, Paula, Valerie. And this 2 months ago, um, February 2025 was the 35th anniversary of the case. Las Cruces authorities once again made a public appeal for any information. Stephen said, "It's been getting harder just to keep up with this every year. Hopefully someone gets over their fear of these guys and decides to come forward."
Mm-hmm.
And what they're saying is like, somebody must fucking know. These people, they don't keep their mouths shut. Okay.
Yeah.
These people are, I mean, they're shooting up children. They're not rational people. They're gonna talk. Somebody knows something.
Yeah. But also, like, for all we know, like, the next day they died. Like, and then it just went to their grave. Like, or they went to jail for a completely different thing, and they're not out there for people to be looking for.
I know. But it's like, if you see that, it's like
But
there
you're
has
right.
to be
They're,
some
they're
connection.
so cocky that they had to have bragged to somebody.
But it's also like, why in this town? You know, they must know someone.
Yeah.
Either related to Ron or related to the bowling alley, related to the town.
Well, let's say it was Ron and drugs or something. Like,
Right.
It's not that there's no way Ron only had 2 enemies and both of them were willing to shoot people. Like, there has to be a range of gray.
A bigger, right? Like, doesn't have to be more connections here somewhere.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't Ron, but just like an employee, or say it was like somebody in town gave a false tip about the bowling alley. Like, somebody must have known. And the reason I also am just so confident about that is that there's something about these mugshots, especially when Steven said, oh shit, that gave me chills, how spot on it was. I'm going to show the mugshots now. That is the end of the story of the Las Cruces Bowling Alley Massacre. It's one of those that is just so shocking to me that you don't hear about, much, because it's like the number of children alone. Like, it's just such a shocking story. Before I show the mugshots, which I have not mugshots, I'm sorry. Before I show the composite sketches, I want to add that tips can be given anonymously to Las Cruces Crime Stoppers. You can call 575-526-8000. And I would like to show you some of the composite sketches, because something about them, I was like, I feel like I know those guys. And I don't mean it in a literal way, like I know them personally. It just, something about it, I'm like, someone knows these people.
Familiarly evil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like something is just freaking me out. I need a better picture because these ones are... I had a whole document, sorry.
You're good.
This is the end, I promise, but...
No, you're...
Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but these are the original, like, hand-drawn sketches of what these men looked like. Their age progressed. So
okay,
the ones on
the left are the originals.
Are the originals. The ones on the right are what they are presumably looking like nowadays, or at least not nowadays, but like, progressed into the future a couple decades. And then what I found, which was so interesting to me, there's this website, this company, I think they're out of Sweden. I hope I'm getting that correct. AI Witness Report. Now, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Can I share? I don't know how to do this. Can I share my screen with you real quick?
Yeah.
This is a website called AI Witness Report. What this person does is they take AI, or they take old sketches like this, and then they create like AI composites of what a photograph of this person would look like.
So it's an even more like realistic photograph than just the drawing. That's awesome.
Isn't that unsettling?
Yeah. And the worst thing too is that the only people who could confirm if this is even more accurate are people who like shouldn't have to ever look at this face again.
Yeah, exactly. And so look at how they do this for all of these different unsolved cases. And it's like, even really, really old ones. Like, there are some that are from, I'm talking like Jack the Ripper, or like middle age, look, 1849, like some really, really old ones that...
What's this website called?
So it's called AI-witness-report.com, and they have an Instagram as well. But here are these two guys that I wanted to show you. These are the two. On February 10th, 1990, two armed robbers entered a bowling alley in Las Cruces, New Mexico. During the robbery, they shot 7 people at point-blank range, including a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old girl. Five of them were fatally wounded. And here are the 2 men. These are the original pictures that were drawn and that gave chills to Stephen, who saw them in the parking lot and said they were so spot on. And this is the younger one on the left and the older one on the right.
Wow.
And now this person has created these kind of, and you can you can slide the sliders to look at the AI version of them. But I just think that's so incredible. Like, what a cool use of, learning AI.
STEM.
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly. Let's give a round of applause for actually using AI for good for once, But it's just, these pictures just really got me, because it feels like if somebody knows somebody that they might have an inkling about, and then look at this photo and go, oh, that looks awful like him.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's too much there for it to not be solved. And it really kills me that this woman, her entire family has been just completely obliterated violently. And she has no idea who did it.
And also, I bring this up every single time when people get away, but like, imagine the paranoia of the survivors of like, are they going to come finish the job, and like nobody's going to know, and
the trauma of just like living with that constant fear over your shoulder. Like, are they?
Or poor Ida. Like, I mean, even.
And by the way, she was an adult. She was 33. That's how old we are. Like at the, it's like looking at all the children. Of course, it's like deeply, horribly traumatic, but then you think even the adults were 26, 33, like they're not, not that anyone is at an age where they can handle a mass shooting, obviously,
but in my mind, they're like, they're grown-ups, and like, to me,
they're grown-ups, and it feels like they're grown-ups, and then you're like, no, that's like if we were standing there, like, no wonder. I mean, it's
the horrific paranoia too of wondering, like, are they people in our community? Am I driving past them all the time and they know that they shot me, and I just don't know. I just that would eat me alive.
And that is why I want these photos to go out everywhere. Please, let's get these photos out. I just want to figure out who the hell shot a 2-year-old in the head and a 6-year-old. I mean, a 2-year-old, like, to hear the girl describe it on, oh my God, it's so horrific. To hear Melissa talk about, by the way, what also really upset me is I was going through and I was putting together like the faces and names of all these people, especially the kids, putting them all. And the number of sources that spelled their names wrong, I just found it weirdly like insulting. I mean, it rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't mean to be like that stickler person, but it's like, I find it to be
true. It's like,
shitty.
At least honor who they were.
It's shitty journalism. I'm sorry. Like, you can look at Valerie's gravestone and see that her name is spelled differently than every news article writes it. And by the way, her gravestone has Ernie from Bert and Ernie on it, and it makes me just want to cry. But Melissa, her name is spelled like a little differently. It has an extra I in there. Not a single, not Wikipedia, not Crime Junkie podcast. Nobody fucking spelled her name right. And it like fucking pisses me off. Like, she's still alive. Like, come on, just spell her name right. I don't know why that bothers me so much. And I'm not trying to target anybody in particular. I'm just saying the only people I found that spelled her name right were the documentarians who knew her personally, and the Las Cruces, the local newspaper. Everybody else spelled it wrong, and it just really irked me. And I just want to give her like so much strength and love, because she's fucking fighting out there, man. So that is the case of the Las Cruces Bowling Alley incident. To just lose like a 13-year-old, a 2.5-year-old, a 6-year-old, the innocence of a 12-year-old who lost her best friend, her mom, just watch the most horrific thing unfold. A mom losing her entire family in one fell swoop. It's just all extremely, like a dad trying to protect his kids and then having to die with them all at the same time.
Who wanted to be a cop,
it just all is so, it's just nightmare fuel. I've really just been
bugging out,
haunted by it. Yeah, it's been haunting me, honestly. But I really love that there are things we're doing now, like these AI kind of creating like more photorealistic versions of what people would look like,
Yeah.
and hopefully that can help in some way. So we'll post those as well. And please, please, if you have any connection to the area or know anything, take a look, see if you know anything. Um, it really kills me that this mom has no answers, but that's the story. Morning Glory.
Well, if anyone would like a ice bath from that and something refreshing to listen to instead, you can go over to our Patreon and
I mean,
I don't know how to transition, but
I'll do it. My therapist told me sour candy can help reset your vagus nerve. I don't know if she's just saying that to make me feel
I
better,
think
but
she just wants you to eat sour candy.
she gave me a warhead one time and it like broke my brain, and she said, "See?" And I went, "I don't know what I'm supposed to see," but I spit it out. Anyway, so
that'll be $300.
Yeah, that'll be $300. I'm gonna be eating my Airheads and trying to recover from that, and we're gonna chit chat. We'll probably talk about M's childhood trauma and why they didn't speak to their mom for a year. I'll probably cry about something again, and that's it. So see us on patreon.com/ATWD podcast. If you're sick of us, I get it. We'll see you next week. And if you want to come see us live, we'll be in Vegas and we'll be a lot more fun, I promise. That's mostly ghost stuff. We're not going to bum you out on tour. So
this is why we focus on. People wonder why it's mainly paranormal. It's because otherwise audiences leave feeling like this.
Yeah, I tried that and it wasn't cute for anybody. So we do ghosts on the tour. Come see the ghost show, and it's at that'swhyyouDrink.com/live.
And
that's
why
we
drink.